Because, like, if a plane crashes, right, there is the Earth.
Right.
If a plane crashes, you could grab your little parachute on your seat or whatever, and then you can land on Earth. If you, like, crash in space or something goes wrong in space, you're just done, though.
Well, it's just, no, you'll get rescued. It just takes a little longer.
Who's going to rescue you, though? There's no, like, emergency response.
You're telling me there's no colony I'm going to? Like, I'm
okay,
setting this
all right.
up? Like, there's no communication?
You're right. No, let's get down to brass tacks.
You're painting a really bleak picture.
The year is 2122. I don't know. I'm just throwing out an arbitrary number. There is a small colony on Mars.
2122, we got a colony on Mars.
I don't know.
Let's go 2047.
2047?
Yeah. We got a colony
in 20 years? 2047? Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
All right, so the clock's ticking, Elon. You've got 20 years to get us to Mars. I'm just saying, yeah, I don't know if I would do it. I'd be so scared.
I would do it. Not only that, I would probably do some weird shit, too.
I don't even, like what?
I don't know. I'd be the first, whatever, doing something first out there.
That'd be pretty cool. It would be so cool. I would just be so scared. There's a scene in this movie that freaks me the fuck out, and we'll get to that. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Film School Dropouts.
I'm Brent.
Damn it. You really cut me off at the knees there. I'm James, and I'm here with my 96-year-old daughter, Brent.
You want me to act like an old woman there?
I mean, I didn't know what else to say.
All right, sonny.
What else could I say?
No, I don't know.
Nerdy? I don't know. Yeah, you're my 96-year-old daughter for this episode. That's who you're going to be. This is our first ever recording where Brent and I are in the same room, and the energy is good and not weird at all.
Can't see me this time.
Well, I can see you. What do you mean?
Normally I got the cam going.
Yeah, I don't need to have the cam going. You want me to set up a cam?
No.
Set up a cam to make you more comfortable?
Just hold the Gatorade like it's a camera the whole time.
Yeah. That'll be good. I'll set it here. It'll be like a webcam for you.
Oh, no. Okay, good. We're good.
All right, cool. All right. Okay, so we're on. I almost said penultimate, but I forgot we have two more after this.
Two more.
We're on Christopher Nolan's 9th movie, Interstellar, and we're gonna launch off and go out into outer space and stuff.
We're going to space,
and it's gonna be so much fun. God, I don't even. Is this his best movie? Should we even get into that conversation right now? Or should we wait 2 more episodes?
I mean, we can start. I think it's fair to, like, as a director goes, you can kind of be like, okay, this is.
Wait. We fucked up. We fucked up the whole podcast.
What did we do?
No, we didn't. I was just kidding. We forgot to talk about little movies. Our little movies segment.
Oh no, yeah, we can do that. Well, did you watch anything that excited you?
No, I didn't actually. No. So it's a wash this week.
Well, I can talk about it.
I'm kidding. I have something, but go ahead. You go first.
Okay.
Please lead it off.
I don't know. The only reason why I have to talk about this movie is because I don't know if we're going to get to this director because he doesn't have.
I think that is a really good use of this segment.
Yeah,
to just do little tiny highlights of movies that we might not ever cover.
Yeah, people should be paying attention to that.
Sure.
That might not get a claim
I think
otherwise.
That's a really good use of this segment. So go ahead.
Well, the director's name is John Hillcoat.
Hillcoat?
Yes.
I don't know John Hillcoat by name.
Right. Not a lot of people do. For the bulk of his career, he directed music videos.
Okay.
So that's why you wouldn't know. His most recent thing was like an action movie on Netflix called 999. I didn't watch it.
999.
Before that, he did Lawless, which you...
Oh, that's a pretty good movie.
Yeah, we both like that.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah, it's a good one. But the one I'm talking about is The Road.
Oh, he did The Road.
He did
Your favorite movie.
It's one of my favorite movies.
You think I'll ever watch it?
What?
The Road.
I let you borrow it.
Yeah, I never watched it. I think I started it. And
You're lying.
I'm not lying. Yeah.
You went to... we talked about it.
No, we did.
You passed the quiz, my little quiz. Like, I
didn't
asked
give you a quiz?
Well, I always ask about, like...
No, I watched like 25 minutes of it and just never finished it.
So maybe I'm too leading with my statements, because you were able to just, like...
Maybe I was yeah.
Oh, I love that. I'm too leading.
Maybe I watched more than just 20 minutes. I don't think I finished it.
Interesting.
Which I probably should.
I think you still have it.
Yeah, maybe, somewhere. I've moved since then, so...
Well, you should finish it.
I might just owe you a copy of The Road. Anyways, go ahead.
It's a masterpiece, in my opinion. I watched it in the theater. I left the movie theater, I remember back in the day, thinking, like, I didn't know really how to feel about it. And then it's only one of those movies that have just grown. I love those kinds. Yeah, it's just like, and like...
Some of my favorite movies are movies that I've seen once and was like, I don't know. And then, like, over years, it just, like, festers in your brain. And you're like, no, that's my favorite movie, I think. Yeah. I love that
like
shit.
Some of those movies that just get better with time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I ended up buying
Bleak movie.
It is the grayest and bleakest movie you'll probably ever watch.
Yeah.
Post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
Charlize Theron, Viggo Mortensen, Robert Duvall, Guy Pearce thrown in there. The little boy, I think it's
Cody Smith-McPhee.
Yeah, Smith-McPhee.
Yeah, he's got a whole mouthful of a name.
He's starting to put together a mouthful of accolades to his IMDb page.
Okay,
too, yeah, it's a great movie. In my opinion, I think you should check it out.
I will finally watch it.
Okay.
I will say this. You recommended a couple weeks ago, or you brought up on the show, Murder by Death.
Yeah.
Bought it. Haven't watched it yet. It was on sale. Bought it on Blu-ray.
Yes.
It's on the docket.
Yes.
It's on the watch list. So,
oh, man.
Yeah, I should probably do that with the Road as well. Well, all right. My little movie this week.
Let's hear it.
A movie that I watched for the first time recently. My girlfriend and I do this really cool thing where we each... Actually, you can see the little list right there.
The 5 list.
Yeah, we each pick 5 movies to show each other, and we go back and forth.
Wait, before you continue, I want to know.
Go ahead.
Is the movie you're going to talk about one of your 5 or her 5?
It's one of the 5 that she chose.
I figured as much.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so the category that we chose for this little list that we made was Best Picture winners. So we each picked 5 Best Picture winners that we either haven't seen or wanted to show the other, you know? And she chose a movie called Midnight Cowboy.
Oh.
That I had never seen.
Travolta, right?
No.
No, wait, no, that's...
Hoffman and John Voight.
Yeah, Voight.
Yeah. Didn't have any expectations going into Midnight Cowboy at all. Didn't know what it was about. Just knew that it was Dustin Hoffman. And... you
know the famous line.
Yeah, I'm walking here.
Yeah, okay.
He was walking there. I
right.
saw it.
Yeah.
I saw it. I can attest to that. But what a fucking knockout that movie was. It is so ahead of its time. It's so fucking modern. The use of, like, flashbacks to, like, not to convey any information, but just pure, like, emotion is what these flashbacks are. It's so modern. It's so crazy, like, watching that being like, that was 69? Like...
69 is a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. Yeah.
Anytime you see something from the 60s that blows your mind, you gotta be like...
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So, I mean, Midnight Cowboy really... I mean, it's emotional, it's super experimental, it's really colorful, and...
What's the director on that?
John... Fuck me, I can't remember his name.
Oh, yeah. I haven't heard of
him. He's a British director. God, I really... Oh, here we go. I think I can pull it up right now. 3, 2, 1. Schlesinger.
John Schlesinger.
Yeah, I mean, he's a pretty... I mean, he did, like, Marathon Man and, other movies people have seen. I don't know. But, yeah, anyways, Midnight Cowboy.
Is there a chance we're going to do him on the cast?
I don't know. He might have, like, too many.
Oh.
You know?
He's one of those.
So, actually, this is a good... I want to talk about this.
He's a
3-seasoner. I wanted to talk about this with you. You and I have discussed, and I want to talk about this right now on the podcast, so people listening can kind of get an idea, or maybe they'll have input. There are some directors that we're going to cover that are going to just have way too long of filmographies to do in one sitting. You know what I mean?
Give me a number of what's too long. 20 plus, 30 plus?
I think once you start pushing over 15, you should start considering maybe cutting it in half.
Chunking it.
Right.
Okay.
So, like, Nolan, perfect. 11 movies. Perfect season. But we're going to want to do, like, Martin Scorsese or Steven Spielberg someday. And those guys are pushing over 30.
Right.
So, you and I have talked about, why don't we just cut them in half, right? Do, like, the first 15 Spielberg movies, or maybe not 15, but find a good cutoff point.
Sure.
For Spielberg, I think a really good way to do it would just be everything pre-Oscar and everything post-Oscar, because they're very different Spielbergs.
Okay.
Anyways, we talked about that. But another thing that I had been thinking about recently is, what about some directors who have, like, so many movies that you just love, right? The reason I'm bringing this up is because I would love to talk about Akira Kurosawa movies on this podcast, but he has, like, 30 movies, and half of them are impossible to find. So, A, you and I would have no fun watching, like, trying to find them. Okay. And B, if anyone wanted to, like, watch along, they would also, like, that would suck. So I was thinking for directors like Akira Kurosawa or, like, I don't know, maybe even, like, Scorsese or something, we can do, like, top tens. Just, we can each pick, or you and I can kind of curate what we think is, like, the 10 most important movies from that director.
Ooh, do I hear a draft? Like some variation of a draft
of
some sort?
Yeah.
You know I love a good draft.
So, like, we could totally do something like that.
Yeah. That's something I'd be down with.
Yeah. I mean, just some things I've been mulling over for future plans, I guess.
Well, I also will mole.
You will bowl?
Mole?
Mole. I thought you said bowl. I was like, wow, you really already hit that, though. So
I bowled last night.
You bowled a couple minutes ago. Holy shit.
Boom, boom.
All right. Well, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Lift off.
Lift off.
I'm coming back. I love you forever.
Potentially habitable worlds right within our reach.
Could save us from extinction.
Here we go.
You can't just think about your family. Now you have to think bigger than that.
I am thinking about my family and millions of other families.
Maybe we've spent too long trying to figure all this out with theory. Love is the one thing that transcends time and space.
Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light.
I'm not gonna make it!
Yes, you are. We'll find a way. We always have.
Interstellar. Let's talk about Interstellar.
Okay, so first thing I want to know is your mindset going into the movie.
The first time?
Yeah, first time.
Okay.
What was it like?
Let's take you back to 2014, right? Because that's when it came out. I was pretty freaking excited for Interstellar. Love a good space movie. I think every director should have a space movie. That's a rule that I think every director should have to adhere by.
Okay.
Feels like most of them have pretty, like James Cameron, he's got a space movie. He's got a couple space movies. Nolan's got one. James Gray just made a space movie, Ad Astra, one of my favorite movies of that year. I would love for Quentin Tarantino to make a space movie. I want everyone to make a space movie. So when Nolan had announced Interstellar, you bet your bottom dollar, Jimmy was excited. Dark Knight Rises has come out. Was, we talked about already, was a little disappointing in some ways, but maybe not super disappointing. I don't know. It was a weird movie. So
I was hyped about it.
No, for sure. I was hyped about it too. But like in the aftermath, I only saw that one once in theaters. Wasn't really like clamoring to see it again. Was just a weird movie he made.
Yeah, to me it was epic. So I was entering this movie with sky high expectations.
So I'm in the same. I'm coming at it from a different angle, but we're ended up on the same point. Because I was sort of like, okay, Dark Knight Rises is okay, and then he's like, I'm going to space, and I'm thinking, holy shit, this guy's gonna go. This guy with the technology that he can figure out and the way that he makes movies, going to space.
And then you start hearing the names get attached,
Insane.
One after another.
This cast,
the cast is ridiculous.
Ridiculous. Do you remember the first trailer? The very first trailer.
No.
Let me tell you something about this first trailer. It whoops ass.
I kind of.
It's really short, and it's mostly just like, from what I remember, it's like mostly set on Earth. And it's a lot of like McConaughey and Mackenzie Foy and the countdown, and then it left off.
Right.
And it's really short, and it kicked so much ass.
I do remember that.
So that was exciting. And then finally the movie comes out, and I was living with a couple people at the time, and I, for whatever reason, I couldn't get them to go with me. Like, they were all busy or something. So I'm just sitting around one day, and I'm like, fuck it. I'm just going to go see Interstellar by myself in IMAX. And what an overwhelming experience that was for me, just on so many levels. Like, wow, what a movie.
I didn't see it in IMAX, but this is one of those that I wish I would have.
Oh, boy. It was... the word I'm going to probably use a lot in this movie is overwhelming, because that's just how I feel.
When I think of the genre of science fiction, this is one of those that come right to the top. It's if it's not number one, it's in the top 3. Easy for me.
All of science fiction?
Yes.
I love that take. That's a great take.
That is, I mean, I've seen a lot of science fiction movies.
Sure.
And, you know, you make a case for, like, Terminator.
Yeah, I mean, science fiction is such a huge umbrella.
Well, because it's science, and then it's fake science.
Right.
You know, it's what he's trying to be
if you wanted to say
as close as what could be real as possible, you know.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, if you wanted to say that this is like one of the best space movies ever made, I would say absolutely. Science fiction, I might even agree with you, but like that's a harder
because like even if like Star Trek, for instance, like everyone wants it because that's based on like just the future and all that, all the tech.
Right.
But here, he's not only combining the space; he's combining different theories. He's combining black holes. He's combining so much science down to just McConaughey hacking the drone in the beginning of.
Oh, that's you
know, there's so much science that it's just and it doesn't end. All the like it ends. I don't know. It's
wonderful. I love this movie so fucking much. I mean, I'll just go ahead and spoil it. This is my favorite of his movies.
This is number one for you?
Like, with a bullet. Easily. I have always felt that way. Like, since it came out, I felt that way. And I haven't watched it in a couple years. And when I watched The Prestige recently, I was like, shit, is that number one? Is that going to dethrone Interstellar? And then I put Interstellar on tonight, and I was like, oh, no. I love The Prestige. It's an incredibly fun movie, but this movie just makes me weak all over.
So we can't talk about this movie without talking about The Reconnaissance.
Yeah, we probably should dive into The Reconnaissance.
Do the Reconnaissance first.
I mean, we all know what it is.
Because this is the end of it, right? Kind of.
This is basically the last of it. And, like, I mean, it's a great...
What it is like 3 to 4 years of just McConaughey dominance at the box office. Just him churning out not only great movies, but great performances.
Yep. I mean, he's winning Oscars.
He's getting acclaim. Like, not only that, but he's dominating the TV scene. Like, he's
True, he had True Detective.
With True Detective, this is McConaughey central.
So I say that The Reconnaissance starts in 2011 with The Lincoln Lawyer. That's what I think it starts.
Okay.
Because
I love that movie.
I think it's great. I think he's so fun in it. But yeah, pre-Lincoln Lawyer, he's doing a lot of shitty rom-coms, and he's sort of just, nailing it in, I guess. I don't want to accuse him of that, but it doesn't seem like he's super invested in...
Was he in Frailty?
Oh, God, maybe? I don't know.
Do you
want me to go through,
he did. He did Frailty, yes. He did a horror movie where I was like, okay, that was the first thing that made me like, oh.
I think, like, he starts to, like, it just goes back so far, his, like, bad stuff.
Well, not all of them are bad.
No, not all of them are bad. I'm just saying, like, 2001 is The Wedding Planner.
You better believe if it's date night with some girl, I'm turning on vintage McConaughey.
Oh my God!
All day. What's the J-Lo one?
God, that's such a huge difference between you and me. As you do that, and I'm like, let's watch fucking Spirited Away. I don't know.
We're doing Ghosts of Girlfriend's Past.
Oh my God! So 2001 is The Wedding Planner, Frailty, and then Reign of Fire in 2002.
Oh, love it.
And then it's rough, man. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, Tiptoes, Sahara, Two for the Money, Failure to Launch, We Are Marshall, Fool's Gold. Like,
there's some of those.
I'm just saying, this is not the work of.
That's rough. You're isolating our fan base here. On the other, how to Lose a Guy in 10 days. I mean, that's vintage stuff right there.
Oh God. Anyway, so 2011 is The Reconnaissance.
Okay.
You got The Lincoln Lawyer.
Takes more of a dramatic turn.
And a more like, it's like a very like popular leading man kind of movie. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days and all of those rom-coms, like he's definitely the leading man. But sometimes he's playing second fiddle to the female star. Sometimes he's just playing like the guy, you know what I mean? Whereas The Lincoln Lawyer, he's like top billed. It's his movie only, right? Okay. Yeah. Then he does Bernie. Have you ever seen Bernie? Jack Black.
Yeah, the Jack Black
the Richard Linklater movie.
Yeah.
It rules.
I watched it.
It's a weird movie. But he goes on to do Mud. He's very good in. My favorite movie of The Reconnaissance, Magic Mike. He's unbelievably good in.
Okay.
Dallas Buyers Club, he wins an Oscar for.
Well, there you go.
The Wolf of Wall Street, he ruins the movie by being the best part of the movie and then leaving the movie. I like that movie a lot, but like, he just owns that first little arc.
He did own that little part there.
And then he's just gone for the rest of the movie, and you're like, boy, I wish he was back. And then Interstellar in 2014. Just sort of like a murder's row of movies.
Yeah, a little good run there.
And then, he hasn't really reached those. Oh, boy, this bleak when you start going past that, actually. I think post-reconnaissance is worse than pre-reconnaissance. Oh.
Well,
the only good movie in here is Kubo and the Two Strings, where he voices the Beetle Warrior.
Oh, I bought that one.
Yeah, that's a great movie. But yeah, like White Boy Rick, The Dark Tower. Oh, you know what? I take it back. He was outstanding in The Beach Bum. I loved him in The Beach Bum.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to see that one.
That's great.
Didn't watch that one.
Yeah, I don't know if you'd like that one. It's directed by the same guy who did Spring Breakers, and it's got big Spring Breakers vibes.
I like Spring Breakers.
Oh, I thought you didn't like it.
No, I agree. I know. I ended up liking it.
That's one of my favorite movies of the decade. I love Spring Breakers. So, that's a little overview of the reconnaissance. I'm hoping that at some point he can just have another huge surge. He hasn't been floundering as far as I'm sure money goes, because he does pick projects.
Oh yeah, he's good.
But he hasn't done anything.
I think he's getting politically involved.
Oh right, he's running for the governor of mayor, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
You know what? Sure, whatever. You won your Oscar.
Something Texas. I know he's doing a lot of things in
Governor
Texas.
Governor or mayor or something like that in Texas. Yeah, it's Texas. Yeah. He's a Texas boy.
Yeah.
Goes all the way back to fucking
Which
Days to
that
Confuse.
brings me another thing about this movie, and no offense to whatever that 0203 dramedy titled Space Cowboys with Donald Sutherland.
Oh, I never saw
Tommy
Space
Lee
Cowboys.
Jones.
Yeah.
No offense to that, but this is the Space Cowboy.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, I am putting that out there.
Speak on that.
When I think of space, and when I think of cowboy, I think of this character that he plays in Interstellar.
He's kind of a farmer.
He's literally
he's working the land.
We're gonna bring it on down to 75.
Oh,
that is as he's flying.
You're right.
A ship
he's
in space.
Very he's using that accent in this movie.
Man,
it's good stuff. I really like it.
This is as space cowboy as it gets for me. I'm telling you.
So this movie is written by Jonathan Nolan and Christopher Nolan.
The brother.
Yes. And I didn't do a ton of research on this movie just because I love this movie so much. There's some movies that I like too much to look into. I don't want to know how they made certain scenes happen because I find it so magical. Not even that it'll ruin it. It's just I find it so magical to watch that I don't really want to know. And this was one of those where I'm
yeah, you want to believe it.
Yeah, I just want to live in it. I don't really need to know
of movies. You want to be taken away. You want to be there instead of where you're at. You know?
I'll never look up how Kubrick did certain scenes in 2001 because that movie just transfixes me, and I'm I don't really need to know the behind the scenes of it all.
Right.
So that's actually a good analog to this. It's 2001. This is very 2001.
Oh yeah, that is.
That's what this movie is. It's Nolan's 2001.
I mean, they even feature the scene where they're trying to, or they get the gravity and they're able to walk down the spin.
The spin is so cool.
The spin's really cool.
Oh my god!
Before we get to the spin, though,
yeah.
We have to talk about the beginning of the movie.
Okay, one of the best beginnings of any movies ever, and I'm talking about the entire first act.
If to the point where if he didn't go to space and it was just
fine by me.
Yeah,
I'm so
give me a full movie of that. He spends at least an hour building this post-apocalyptic
and it's
future world.
It's so restrained. He doesn't go so over the top with it. It's so believable the way that he is portrayed. What happens to the Earth when we can't make food anymore? It's not like Mad Max where people are fucking killing each other and driving spiky cars. It's just sad people trying to go about their day and working the crops the best they can.
Well, so he went the Dust Bowl route.
So you know that those the little documentary shots that they start the movie off with?
Oh yeah,
that's actually from a Dust Bowl documentary. He just took actual. So aside from the Ellen Burstyn scene where she's my dad was a farmer, all of those other scenes are, I guess, from an actual documentary about the Dust Bowl. Those are real people.
It's pretty wild.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
A pretty crazy thing for him to put that in his sci-fi movie.
I mean, if you think about it, the Dust Bowl itself was pretty crazy.
The Dust Bowl was insane. I don't understand it.
So what he does with this movie, he basically takes those crazy conditions of a Dust Bowl, ramps them up to 100%,
and then also
across the world,
and sprinkles in a little crop plague called blight, which is crazy.
Right.
Yeah, you're just living in this I don't know where the movie's supposed to take place in the beginning, but it's sort of Idaho, Iowa, flatlands.
Yeah, Midwestern.
It has a very Midwesty look, but there's also mountains in the background of some of these shots, which is kind of an alien. It sort of makes the whole thing seem detached from what we're used to.
Well, because he goes to such lengths to make it detached, like, I'm imagining, okay, so you don't get a year, like, when it, a lot of times.
No, he doesn't say, but when I was looking up, it's like 2067.
Right.
So, pretty bleak outlook for Mr. Nolan, that he thinks in 2067 this is where we're going to be.
Matthew McConaughey is like the father figure.
Yeah,
he's
two
Coop. Kids. Cooper.
He's got 2 kids, Timothy Chalamet, and just a young Timothy Chalamet, and Mackenzie Foy, who plays Murphy.
I had to look it up when I saw Timothy. I was like,
"That's not Tim."
I was like, "No way." Yeah, that's him.
That's him.
Yeah, I'm super fan of him.
Love him. Yeah, I love him.
At the time,
didn't know he existed.
Didn't know he existed at all.
Yeah.
And now I'm literally like the biggest
like,
fan.
Oh, Timothy Chalamet was in a fucking Nolan movie. Cool.
I was like, good for him.
Yeah, exactly.
No wonder.
Apparently, when he saw this movie, he like cried because he's in barely any of it, and he was like, "Oh my god, he didn't like me. My career is ruined. He didn't like."
No, it's just
that's not your role, right?
No.
But Mackenzie, am I getting her name right?
John Lithgow.
John Lithgow. He plays
love John Lithgow. I'm a big fan of John Lithgow.
Absolutely.
Always have been. Great to see him. I was hyped when I saw him. I was like, that's how. I remember seeing it when I saw him. I was like, that's how I know he's the man, because Nolan's using him.
Right. So I think, I don't know how, I can only think of one other movie that Nolan does this with, but I really like Nolan picking older actors and putting them in these kind of smaller supporting roles, and then having both of them be in a scene together. Like in the Batman movies, you've got Lucius Fox and Michael Caine doing like fun scenes together, and like quipping, and like there's one really short scene where Michael Caine comes to the house and John Lithgow and him have a scene, and he's like, "Well, she's been embarrassing her teachers.
Maybe I should fan the flag."
Oh, that was good. That was really good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Perhaps. So, and they both have little, or like, that little Kane side grin.
Awful.
Yeah.
Just great in this. So yeah, like the world is basically like.
I said that every single episode.
What, that he's the best?
Like Michael Caine, that little smile, that little,
I know.
Little cheeky
he's in every
smile,
movie, and he's doing the same thing. He's just great. Like
I love it every time.
I know we have to point out and be like, no, we do love him.
It's like episode 9 of me. 9 of 9 me saying.
That's really funny. So yeah, I mean, McConaughey's playing this character who was a pilot for NASA, but since the world has kind of fallen out of grace, basically, he has to be a farmer. They don't need pilots.
I mean, I brought up because I think we would be John Lithgow's age. Is kind of where
I was thinking the same thing. It's so weird. I was like, oh, weird. He's probably our age. Yeah. Because he's talking about like things from the past, but he's just talking about stuff from right now.
Yeah.
Really great.
It's to the point where
I want a hot dog.
Like the teachers, we find out are like no one believes like science isn't even a thing.
I wanted to talk about the teacher scene.
Oh man,
I've got a couple scenes here that I'm like, we need to talk about. So there's a scene where Cooper goes to have a meeting with both of his kids' teachers, or like one of his teachers and then the principal or something like that.
Well, it's just
played by David Oyelowo.
To talk about. Well, like just progress update
because
type of thing.
McConaughey wants his kid to go to college. He wants Timothy Chalamet to go to college, but the school is like, no, we need more farmers, and your kid would be a great farmer. So he's pissed about it. The
worldly priority has shifted.
Yeah, it's crazy.
To food, because it's just people are starving.
I mean, Oyelowo has this incredible line.
To the point where the New York Yankees are playing as just like
some small town team.
Yeah, like a high school.
I guess is the movie set in New York then?
No, it's probably still like a baseball type thing. It's just
because it says like the world famous New York Yankees, right, on the stadium. Is it like upstate New York that the movie set it? I'll never know. Did I throw you for a curve there?
Well, I figured that the Yankees travel like.
Maybe yeah. Oh yeah, maybe it's like a friggin' circus.
Well, no, like normal baseball, they travel.
Clowns, Well, yeah, but when the baseball...
The Tigers play in Oakland.
Yeah, but like if the Tigers go and play in New York, they're not going to put up a banner that says the Detroit Tigers. They're playing in New York. So I figured... Anyways, it doesn't matter. None of this matters at all. What I was getting to is...
How about this?
Okay.
There's no teams left except for just the Yankees.
And then who do they play against? Themselves?
The
It's just
local
scrimmages?
Team.
I like that a lot. They're just the only famous
kind
baseball
of
team.
like the Globetrotters, and it's just baseballs falling.
That's really cool.
That's a very desolate. I don't like that.
No, I do. Yeah, less baseball, please. I'm just kidding.
It hurts.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, so this scene that I want to talk about, it's really good. Cooper goes because he wants to talk to this kid's teachers about his kid's future. And he's also going because Murphy, his daughter, has gotten into some sort of trouble. So they talk to him about Timothée Chalamet, and they're like, yeah, he's going to be a farmer. He's all pissed. Then the other teacher has to butt in and say, hey, your daughter brought in this textbook with all this stuff about the Apollo missions, and you can tell that Cooper's kind of like, oh yeah, that's my textbook. He's all like proud of it, proud of his daughter for being interested. And they're like, yeah, well, all of the information in this is false. We've used like updated, corrected versions of these textbooks. And this scene is really good the way it plays out because you can see David Oyelowo and whoever the lady is who's playing the teacher are very like matter of fact about, no, we never went to the moon. It was propaganda. It's very cynical and like kind of emotionless. And then you cut back to McConaughey and he's like, whoa, what do you mean? We never landed on the moon? Like he's like, he's sort of he's sort of desperately clinging on to this idea that like, no, we can still be optimistic and like have wonder in our hearts. And he gives this speech about, like, one of those useless machines was called an MRI.
And one of those useless machines they used to make was called an MRI. And if we had any of those left, the doctors would have been able to find the cyst in my wife's brain before she died instead of afterwards. And then she'd have been the one sitting there listening to this instead of me, which would have been a good thing because she was always the calmer one.
I'm sorry about your wife, Mr. Cooper.
And, he just talks about how his wife died, and, like, then you cut to him and Lithgow on the porch, and he gives that really good line, we used to look up and wonder about our place in the stars, but now we look down and worry about our place in the dirt.
Yeah, that line.
Which is the whole movie.
Incredible.
It's the whole movie, like, encapsulated. This whole movie is about how, like, the NASA missions aren't being funded anymore, and we don't go to the moon, and we don't care about manned missions to Mars, and we don't care about exploration anymore because it's silly to think that that's important, And I just love that Nolan made a movie about, like, no, we should, like, be passionate about, like, exploring again. Like, guys, we should look up to the stars with wonder in our hearts.
It's crazy.
What this whole movie's about.
Just this week, though, we saw, obviously when this gets launched, it'll be after
6 years from now.
But you just saw the footage with the little drone.
Yeah,
flying.
On Mars.
Yeah, first that we saw. Now we have flight.
It's true.
Achieve flight on 2 different planets.
Pretty cool.
This week alone, like, just with Interstellar and that, like...
You're like,
oh... And then shortly after we sucked out oxygen, we got oxygen off.
I guess I didn't see that.
Because we are able to convert and create oxygen on Mars now.
Okay, so maybe 2047.
That's what I'm saying.
Elon Musk is going to get us...
is not only for us to breathe.
Elon Musk.
Not only for us to breathe, but it's for rocket fuel itself. So that is our return. That's fuel there. And we're able to get fuel there now.
Wow.
That's epic. So we're getting off topic.
I love it.
Yeah, no.
Bring those space facts.
Who doesn't? I think every human should have a little bit of explorer in.
I know. That's what this whole this movie makes me like. I don't ever think about like how wonderful outer space is or how like inspiring the Apollo missions were. But I watched this movie and I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Amazing. Seeing you mentioned with the MRI. That is a pretty sneaky way for Nolan to sneak in some exposition.
Yeah,
because you do get some backstory and how his wife died and just like how the family got the family got the way it got to, and it was a very sneaky way. It was so much emotion. But yeah, that scene when the next one you talked about with that quote where he's just kind of, in Lithgow says, "You were born 40 years too early or 40 years too late."
Devastating.
Oh, and it's devastating because you really start to feel for McConaughey's character, and you're just that's what this whole movie is about. His character,
it really,
and it's about his vehicle, and he dominates his vehicle. He's so good in this. I have here a note. He's the coolest damn character.
He's really cool.
That I've seen so far. We'll say for this podcast.
Well, Tenet has some cool characters. I don't know what their names are, but they're pretty cool.
Wait,
from Tenet? Oh, they're pretty hot. We're
not there yet.
I know. Okay, but up till now,
we're not there yet.
I do think McConaughey is really cool.
And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to spoil the podcast. Yeah, McConaughey's character Cooper is still cooler than any character in
I
Tenet.
think this is his best character.
I love
Coop.
this character.
He's great.
He's a space cowboy. Everyone should be a space cowboy. So at the end of that teacher scene, he basically spits in the teacher's faces and says, "I'm going to take her. You know what? There's a baseball game.
She's been wanting to go to that.
I'll take her to that.
I'm
going to take her to that." And then you get this it's not a Nolan movie. It's not chock loaded full of amazing visuals, and you get this wall of dust.
The sand
the
dust
wall.
storm or whatever.
Yeah. And
so I don't want to yada yada through this, but this is a 3-hour movie, and we do have a hard out.
Oh yeah.
So this is when kind of seeds are planted for what's going to happen. This sandstorm comes through, and they go into Cooper's room to close the window, and there's these streams of dust coming vertically from the ceiling, and they're like, "Whoa, that's really weird." Mm-hmm. And eventually, they find out it's binary for coordinates.
The anomaly.
It is it's a gravitational anomaly, which is weird. That there's this weird little pocket in her room, and she keeps having all these books fall over, and she says there's a ghost. Mm-hmm. There's a really fucking good scene earlier in the movie where she's talking about, "Oh, it's a ghost, and I keep mixing them up because they have such cool names. But Cooper sort of blows her off and is like, "Yeah, okay, it's not a ghost." And then Lithgow goes, "Coop," and he gives him this look, you need to be there for your daughter, and without missing a beat. McConaughey, he doesn't take offense to this. He doesn't get upset that John Lithgow's calling him out on not being a good father. He goes, and then he just nods his head, sits down, and engages with her.
You said science is about admitting what we don't know.
Just got you there. Hey, start looking after our stuff. Cool. If you want to talk science, don't just tell me that you're afraid of some ghost. No, you gotta go further. You gotta record the facts, analyze, get to the how and the why, then present your conclusions. Deal?
Deal.
All right.
In another movie, you might get some sort of friction between Lithgow and McConaughey, on "Oh, don't tell me how to parent my daughter." But you can tell that no, Lithgow's right. McConaughey knows it. He needs to sit down and give his daughter some hope. Well, it's great.
So that brings me to another thing about this movie. So far, this is the most feel-good. Even though it's post-apocalyptic, it is the most feel-good so far.
This is the only Nolan movie that... And I'm not even saying this backhandedly. I love pretty much every Christopher Nolan movie. This is the only Nolan movie that makes me feel things.
It feel good.
It just makes me feel anything.
Oh, no.
It's I watched The Dark Knight and I'm wow, this is great, but I'm not so enraptured by the performances and the characters are really tearing at my heartstrings. I'm just this is badass and I love it. This movie makes me weep. I cried 3 times watching this.
Oh, well, then, I mean, that's another... We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But no, I'm telling before we go to space, before we go to space, we see tons of scenes where it's fatherly bonding with McConaughey. And those to me are... they don't have to be perfect.
No, I'm saying that they're very realistic scenes. It's not oh my god, look at how great of a dad he is. He's struggling. He's a single dad. He's got 2 kids to raise, and he's doing his best to connect with both of them. And sometimes it doesn't work, but they have a really strong bond, all the kids. And I love it.
Yeah, I think he's a very good father in this movie.
Great, yeah, I agree.
Up until he
leaves his children and goes in space for 100 years.
But even
what a crazy movie this is.
Yeah. But even when she sneaks into the truck and
he's
I gotta do this.
He's got the coordinates to some mysterious place, and he's I'm not taking you with me. Don't know what I'm going to find. She sneaks in the truck, and they go off to find out what these coordinates are. And what is it? It's NASA.
It's NASA.
Enter the greatest character in the history of cinema.
There's really cute part that I want.
Oh, okay. What's the cute part?
Well, just she sneaks in and he's he looks over and he gives her and
he pinches her
and he's
he's not mad at her
and he puts her to work. He's be useful.
Yep.
And when you get a good look and he's good smile.
Also, that scene of him lifting up the blanket tees you up for just utter emotional devastation later in the movie when he leaves.
And he
lifts up the blanket and
she's
not there. That's so sad. Anyways, so they go to NASA and the greatest character in the history of cinema has entered the film.
To this point, it's just a little fatherly adventure with his daughter.
But what's this? What's this? A giant metal board that talks.
How did you find this place?
Where's my daughter?
You had the coordinates for this facility marked on your map. Where did you get those coordinates? Where's my daughter? Don't make me take you down again. Sit down.
Oh,
Tars, my favorite character of all time.
He's a good one.
Tars is a great robot. One of my favorite robots. He might be my favorite robot. I can't think of a cooler robot than Tars.
I really like Hitchhiker's Alan Rickman.
Oh, Marv, right?
Yeah.
I think
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
That's a good
Alan
one.
Rickman's robot.
Okay, so we need to do a little talking Tars right now. He's a big board. He's a big metal board, and his little board can like move in different ways to where he can like walk and like have little appendages. And he's voiced by Bill Irwin in the most like deadpan funny robot performance you can imagine, because he's just, the cool thing about Tars is when he talks, it's not robotic. It's just like a guy. It just sounds like you and me talking right now.
Yeah.
Like he has like normal human questions and speaks normally. He has like settings, humor settings.
Bring it on down to 75.
You won't make that 55. So good. So Tars apprehends Matthew McConaughey, and Murphy is taken to some other location. McConaughey is worried about his daughter. Anne Hathaway comes in.
Dr. Brand.
He knew another Dr. Brand. Wasn't nearly as good looking. That's what he says to her. And she's like, fuck you, and walks away. It's just fully not charmed by him at all. So we find out that Michael Caine, who is playing older Dr. Brand, that's Father Brand.
Father Brand.
Yeah, Father Brand. He was what? Cooper's boss? When Cooper was at NASA?
Some sort of up the chain, and when he was a pilot at NASA. Because when...
Yeah. He knows him.
Yeah, he knows him, and he basically asks him, he's like, hey, back in the day when you worked for us, you were the best. We are still existent. We still are trying to run missions, and we need you.
Yeah.
You are the best.
So
all the rest of our candidates here are just coming out of computer simulations. You've actually done it.
I love that line. I've never left the stratosphere. Well, all of these kids haven't left the simulator.
Yeah, it's great.
I do like that they were going to go without him, and it's just like so happy. I mean, that's the whole point of this movie is like
the anomaly.
Yeah.
What led him?
Right.
There's a big question of what's leading.
There's a very them. What are they doing?
Right.
They put a wormhole here. Mm-hmm. They made it possible for us to go to these different galaxies.
I do want to say before we get too farther into the science, I don't know what half of it means.
Okay, we should talk about this right now. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah,
I think the end of this movie is nonsense, and I don't understand it. And I don't think it makes any sense.
Okay, I think it's supposed to not make sense because it's fifth dimensional.
I'm cool with it.
We're not supposed to know about fifth dimensional. That's the whole point.
Well, it doesn't make sense from a storytelling perspective either. How did he get to the future to make the decisions to get back to the past if he hadn't gone to the... It doesn't make... It's a paradox.
How did he survive going through a black hole? Once you start going down that road...
I don't really care. I'll be honest. I don't care at all. I think...
The whole science thing, you just sit back and enjoy the ride.
Absolutely.
Because once you get to... you can't... Come on.
I'm not that worried about it.
You can start with the wormhole when it goes off the rails and speculation.
The wormhole's cool.
I know. Oh, it's all cool.
It's
all cool.
You're right.
But it's cool. All speculation once you hit like a certain point.
Yeah. I just think the end of this movie is like utter nonsense. Then I'm just like, that's cool.
Some of it, I think, is with the gravity and time and relativity.
Oh, I don't care. Like, I don't care if it's realistic or not. It looks great, and I love to watch it, and it makes me feel very, very good.
As soon as I start to try to...
I don't need Neil deGrasse Tyson to come in here and shit all over this movie like he does every fucking movie that comes out. He's so obnoxious.
He actually says this one's pretty scientifically accurate.
I fucking hate him.
No.
Like, he goes to see Nomadland and he's like, actually, the constellations weren't like that night. Fuck off, Neil. Goddamn nerd.
I love him.
He's fine. Anyways, so he's given this mission. Like, we need you to pilot the ship and go through this wormhole to go to a different galaxy where there's all these planets.
Apparently 11 pilots have already gone out through this wormhole.
So this wormhole leads to a galaxy, and they found a solar system in the galaxy that has 3 inhabitable planets, which are the 3 planets we visit.
Right.
And his mission is to go in there and figure out which one is the most successful. To figure out what planet we're going to, move all of humanity to. So there's 2 things going on here that rule. He has to go on a cool space mission, and that's going to take him, 50 years, even though it's only going to take him in his life, 5? even though he's in cryo sleep for like 3 of them. Crazy. And then at the same time, Michael Caine back at NASA is going to keep working on this equation to figure out how to get this space shuttle out into space to save humanity, because it's like this incredibly huge space station that they can't figure out how to get out there. So he has to do this like gravitational, formula, right?
Some sort of equation that's he's supposed to be working on, and
it's great.
He promises by the time you get back,
the way that Nolan messes with time in this movie is staggering to me. The first time that he does it, where I'm like, oh shit, okay, oh wow, we're just okay, right, yeah, why waste time with all the boring stuff? Was they're getting all the messages from Michael Caine, and they're like, okay, we're about to go down for the long sleep, we'll be in Saturn in 3 years, and then literally it jump cuts to them moving across Saturn. I'm like, oh, so we're just not going to spend any time in those 3 years, because why would we? Like, yeah, that's cool. And then the great
because they were sleeping.
Yeah, they're in cryo sleep, and also like we don't need to spend time flashing back to Earth to see what like them working on that. Like, do a really cool jump cut to just like the silhouette of Saturn and the tiny dot of the spaceship going across it slowly. And the other device, like the kind of storytelling device that Nolan uses here, which is I think the most successful like scene in the movie, the scene that like everyone knows from this movie, is they get to receive messages from their families at home while they're in cryo sleep. So they wake up and they've got years of messages to read. And we'll get to that scene when we get to it, because it's heartbreaking.
During this time, basically, Timothée Chalamet becomes Casey Affleck.
Okay, so we need to pause. We need to stop the podcast. This is the craziest thing that any director's ever done. So Timothée Chalamet, he's playing with Tom, playing the character Tom. He's Timothée Chalamet. He's like, hey Dad, what's up? It's me, Timothée Chalamet. Miss you. And then it cuts to him being older. He's older. Time has gone on. He has grown up into a full man, and he's Casey Affleck. So he was Timothée Chalamet. Hey, Dad, what's going on? And then he becomes Casey Affleck. And he's like, hey, Dad, it's me, Casey Affleck. I'm all grown up now. My voice sounds like this, and that's normal, So I got a dead kid now. Like, the casting of those two is so fucking wild, because Chalamet has such a deep voice.
See, I didn't.
Oh my god, it's so funny.
I didn't pick up on that at all.
Especially, I mean, I love Casey Affleck, so like, having seen a lot of his movies, like
I do.
He has such a high pitched voice.
He does have a higher pitch voice,
and it's so funny. Like a kid, he's the only kid who's gone through puberty and has come out the other side like higher in a higher register.
I didn't.
Hey, Dad, it's me, Casey. I love you. I miss you so much.
I might have to go back and just compare those two again.
It's just funny.
I didn't pick that out.
It's not egregious. It's just funny. No, so
Mackenzie Foy eventually, becomes Jessica Chastain.
We're jumping way too far ahead, because we're skipping over an entire planet. Because the 3-year journey is not what ages them at all.
Well, they get to Saturn. We're talking about the video messages, and
right.
kind of, we're not at the big thing. No,
because the big thing is when you get Casey Affleck and Jessica Chastain.
Yeah.
So they go through this wormhole in Saturn, by Saturn, and it is the coolest looking thing that's ever happened. I love it so much. They go through this weird, like, bubbly tunnel in space.
Yeah, well, it's so wild, because not only did Nolan think, like, oh, I'm going to put a wormhole that goes, like, and, like, try to explain that. Later on, he puts the black hole.
Oh, yeah. Gargantua.
Yeah, so you got a wormhole and a black hole, and it's just like, how do you attempt both of those in one movie? And it's just like, so this feeling is building as the ship is slowly going through space to this like spherical object.
It's so good.
Looking weird wormhole.
It's like this warbling ball that they have to go through.
And like, I know everyone in the audience sitting next to me was just like, what is about to happen? Because that's all you can do with this movie is like, he takes you to places you've never been to before.
Like, when they go into the wormhole, you love harping about this, his sound design, everything's rattling and shaking. You can actually feel the pressure on the ship. The sensors are all going off. Like, you're like, what's happening? Like, physically, what's going to happen to these characters right now? Because, like, you just don't know. You don't know what you're going to see.
We didn't even talk about the rest of his crew. So, yeah, Dr. Brand is going with him. You got Wes Bentley.
Wes Bentley. He don't last very long.
Doyle?
Dr. Dead.
Dr. Boyle? Doyle?
Doyle, I think.
I was glad to see Wes Bentley.
And then you've got David Kiyoshi playing Romilly, he is so good in this movie.
He's great.
I think he's underrated for how good he is in this movie. He's like, he's a character that, like, you just don't see very often, which is, like, even the first scene where he's in NASA and he's, like, talking about the mission, he has a spirit voice. He's got a very nerdy kind of way of talking. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he kind of has that dialect or something like that. But
normally he's the one operating the computer. He's not the astronaut.
No. He's like the scientist.
He's the dual.
Yeah.
Well, there's only 4 of them. Like, this is
true.
dire.
Small crew. There's not many human beings to go send into space. But Gyasi, like, from his first scene all the way to his last scene, he's a character who feels so lived in. I'm like Bentley shows up and I'm like, oh, that's Wes Bentley. I like Wes Bentley. He can, whatever. He's acting. He's playing a character.
I just missed that.
He's fine. Like, he's not bad at all. I like him. I think he's good. But Gyasi, the way he plays this character, I'm like, that's not an actor. That is a man who has been living this character's life for years. Like, everything about every movement he has, I'm like, I'm fucking, yeah.
Especially, we'll get to the, like, I agree with specifically
so good.
One part, but, it's a kind of egregious. We didn't talk about the line, the last harvest for okra.
Yeah. Ever. Yeah.
Yeah, that line is just like, ugh.
Yep.
Like, ugh, that's... And then later on...
really quick.
And then...
Good riddance. Okra. Ugh. Gross.
But, okay.
Nasty.
And then they set you up for the real heartbreak later.
Corn.
Corn is next.
Corn is dying.
It's just like... And that's the one thing that was dependable that could survive.
It's crazy. So, yeah, they have to go out into space to find a new fucking world for them to live on, because they're just being overrun by...
One system,
light.
3 planets.
Another really good line is them talking about how McConaughey's like, oh, this is our home. We can't leave it. And I think Michael Caine is the one like, our atmosphere is like 80% nitrogen. We don't even breathe nitrogen, but Blight does. So it's thriving. The storytelling is really efficient, the way that he gives you information. So yeah, we go through the... Yeah, I know. Like, he gets it off. In a 3-hour movie, like, none of it feels... I don't know. You go through the wormhole, and now we're in this new solar system. And they've got to figure out... There's a lot of things at play here. There's a gigantic black hole named Gargantua. If you get near it, your time fucking dilates in a weird way, and, like, Earth just keeps going, but time slows down for you, so, like, if you get near it and come back, you've just lost, like, years.
Because of the black hole.
Insane.
And its effect on time.
So, McConaughey comes up with this...
That's actually... Like, it's
true.
It's true.
It scares the shit out of me, this whole movie. But McConaughey comes up with this cool idea to, like, go into orbit on the outer rim of the black hole, and then send, like, a smaller craft down to the first planet to retrieve the beacon for data.
Yeah.
So they do that, and they've already
this planet has water on it.
Okay.
And that's why they're like, water, that's great.
Yes, water. We need it.
Good.
We need some of that.
Hey, life. Water.
So when I saw this in IMAX,
this crazy cowboy...
You're
talking about the landing?
The landing's insane.
Oh,
yeah.
My goodness.
They're like, why don't you just land normal? And he's like, nope, we gotta save time. I gotta fucking land like a psycho.
Well, he's coming up with the plan. He's like, no, like, the whole time he's got this sense of urgency from the moment he gets out into space is to, like, even though it's crazy, this mission's supposed to take long, but there's, like, this urgency from the moment he gets into space
to save his kids.
To get back.
He's the only one who has attachments.
Exactly.
They've mentioned, like, all the other, like, pilots don't have attachments back home. Like, he's the one fighting for actual humanity. It's beautiful.
For his family.
Yeah.
And they get back. That's
so, before they go down there...
like this, Merv.
Oh, we didn't talk... we gotta go back. We gotta go back. Wait, we gotta go back and talk about Coop saying goodbye. This whole scene fucking is gut-wrenching. So he goes to say goodbye to Murph. And it's just like, Murph doesn't want to say bye to him because she doesn't know. The scene from the trailer from this, like, ruined me when I watched the trailer, and then when you watch it in context with the film, is when he's holding her, and he says, I'll be back, and she says, when? And he doesn't answer, and he just kind of takes a deep breath, and they're just crying together. Fuck, man. Like, wrecked me.
And then a promise
and then Cooper,
maybe when I get back, me and you might be the same age.
Fully fails his persuasion check here. He just fucking whiffs it. He's like, oh, I'll say a clever, charming little thing about science. When I get back, we might be the same age. And she's like, fuck that. I hate that. Like, don't say that to me right now. I'm very fragile. And she, like, throws his watch, you know.
Yeah, because she realizes she's very intelligent.
He doesn't know.
And she realizes that he doesn't actually know when he'll be back. And it just destroys her, destroys him.
And then, all this scene,
like this, Murph.
This whole scene is happening. Don't make me leave like this, Murph is...
It's
incredible.
You have no idea when you're coming back. No idea. Oh!
Don't make me leave like this. Come on, Murph. Don't make me leave like this, Murph. Hey, I love you forever. You hear me? I love you forever, and I'm coming back.
So this whole scene of Murph saying goodbye, or Coop saying goodbye to Murph.
What's his first name?
His first name doesn't matter because his name's Cooper, and that rules.
I know, but he had a cool first name too.
So, but this whole scene is playing out where they're saying goodbye to each other while you're getting like the countdown to the rocket leaving, and then the rocket just leaves, and there's no like
very streamlined.
It's so very sudden.
Very like usually
Michael Caine's like, "Are you good?" Yes, you're going to get so much like
rocket.
Shoe. Yeah, you're just going to get so much shoe
that's
work.
That's the spectacle. The rocket taking off.
But
and
nope.
It's like it's very
or leading up to it, like the team getting together. None of that.
No,
it's boom. You're out. You're in outer space. And then we didn't talk about this scene either. We suck at podcasting. There is a poem that Michael Caine keeps reciting over and over again. Rage, rage against the dying of your life. I don't like it.
You don't like it?
I don't really like when he recites it. But there is a moment, like the first time he's reciting it over them blasting off, I'm kind of like, all right, I get it. It's kind of corny, but whatever. And then you see the scene of the Earth bathed in sunlight and the Endurance slowly going away from Earth into the darkness. And he says, rage, rage against the dying of the light. And I'm like, oh, fuck, never mind. Like, that works.
That's when it hit
that
for you.
really works. Yeah. That image of them leaving their home to go out into the unknown and him saying, rage against the dying of the light and Earth is dying. Like, it's beautiful. It's fucking beautiful. Love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole thing that like it's very streamlined. It's very fast. I love how you don't spend a lot of time because there's so much that else you have to do in this movie.
There's so much other shit to do.
Right after that, you meet or you find out that Tars has a humor setting.
Tars is great. Tars is my best friend.
I'll go ahead and turn that down. Or he talks about a little 2001 callback too when he's talking about when I shoot you out of the airlock.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and bring that down to 75.
Yeah, it's great.
Humor setting. Great.
Their plan is they're going to go down to Miller's planet, which is the water planet. But they know every hour they spend on Miller's planet is 7 years back on Earth. So they need to get in and get out because the gravity is so strong from that black hole right near it.
Which leads him to do crazy, like
this really cool landing.
Yeah, one of the coolest landing, like using gravity, like the ship's getting way too high. You don't know how much it can take.
It's great.
And then he slams the brakes, and they land.
It spins out right over the beacon,
and they all like kind of look at him like, dude, like that was crazy. It's like, no, it was crazy, but it was efficient.
Yeah.
So they're down. He's like, go, go, go. They get out there. The water, they get out of the ship. The water's like about
really quick,
knee high.
Before we even get out of the ship, they're on this planet. Nolan has set up the stakes so well. You can. It's so desperate what they're doing. 7 fucking years are going to go by if they spend 1 hour on this planet.
7 years to 1 hour.
Time is such a fucking valuable resource in this scene. And the second he lands, what is the first thing you hear?
The ticking.
Tick, tick, tick.
Yeah, that's Zimmer.
Okay.
Of course it's Zimmer. And
Zimmer's
patented.
This is our first season. We're going to cover a lot of directors. We're going to cover a lot of composers.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff that I like. So it's really early on for me to say this. This is my favorite score of all time. Every movie I've ever watched, this is my favorite score. This is an insane score, first of all.
How does it... It starts with just... like this ticking.
The Miller scene?
From the second they hit this planet.
It's the ticking. It's crazy. It immediately sets you on edge because you're like, right, fuck, okay, fuck. Like, they're on the planet, so time is already passing by way too quickly.
7 years to 1 hour.
It's crazy.
No.
So,
and before they even leave the ship, they know that it's 130% Earth's gravity.
It's heavy.
So it's heavy.
Yeah.
So they're already moving a little.
Yep. You can hear panting and stuff.
So without the water, it's already harder to move.
Yeah, they got to trudge through the shallow
and
water.
And then you got knee-high water.
So they're like, okay, the beacon's up here towards those mountains. And then McConaughey's like, those aren't mountains. Those are waves.
You get here, the ship opens up, you
oh
see Anne Hathaway's face in the ship, in her suit, and she's looking, she gives a smile because you see these big mountains, and it's like, oh, snap, like this could be a sweet planet, you know.
Those aren't mountains, though.
Yeah, you find out a little later, McConaughey's looking out and realizes
those are waves.
They're
moving away from us, and then he's like, "Oh, well, we're in the middle of a swell." And then the most horrifying visual I've ever seen happens, which is the camera pans back to this wave coming at them, and it starts to pan up the wave, and it just never ends. It goes from like, "Wow, that's a big wave," to "That's cartoonish how big this wave is," to "That's the scariest thing I've ever seen." Like in a matter of seconds.
Yeah,
like, and Zimmer's score is just fucking blaring.
Crescendo.
Oh, it's just blaring. I don't know why Zimmer.
That's one of my nightmares, by the way. It's a big fear of just something all powerful that there's nothing I can do.
No, look at that wave. It's so scary.
It's the size of mountains.
This score is so weird because this is a sci-fi movie. It's a really big budget space adventure sci-fi movie. Typically, you're going to get a lot of like synthesized sounds.
Sure.
A lot of like cool like booming bass.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened between Nolan and Zimmer, where Zimmer was like, or I could just do church organs for a whole fucking soundtrack. Because that's all this soundtrack is. It's just organs. And like, that's the kind of shit you don't hear in a space movie at all. In any kind of action movie. Organs for like the main instrument, it's so weird. But it works so fucking well in this movie.
Well, we've kind of, throughout this podcast, we're supposed to be talking about the directors. We end up kind of losing the focus and talking about the movies. Well, this is Nolan again doing these like things that have has this been done before? Combining that like these two genre and blending them, like putting it in a blender and just saying, "Here, suck on this scene."
There are tons.
It's
going to
blow your mind.
Like first and foremost, this is like a space exploration movie, which there are tons of.
Sure.
And there's tons of really great ones.
So it's exploration. You know, I'm not getting that from this soundtrack.
No, but I know the soundtrack's so fucking weird. It's so weird. I love it. The way that this sound, the score plays out in this scene when you reveal the wave that's about to fucking annihilate them, and that score is just blaring. It like, I was watching it last night, like literally like clenching my head because I was so stressed, and I've seen it plenty of times.
Well, because throughout the scene,
I'm just like, go, because like they're about to get fucked by a wave, and also time is just fucking dissolving. Like they're just losing so much time.
Yeah, I mean, because you got the dual conflicts from the second.
So
you realize that it's a wave.
This is the greatest scene that's ever been filmed. I don't know, because it starts off with the ticking, which is like just genius on Zimmer's part, and then you get, oh, there's a wave going away from us. And then it pans back, you get the reveal, oh, fuck, there's a wave about to destroy us. And then Brand gets stuck on some, like, debris. And
she's
trying to get the beacon.
Yeah, she keeps, like, she's being stubborn. Like, Cooper's telling her to get back to the ship, and she's like, no, we can't, it's for the mission. So
her dumbass hasn't looked behind her to see the wave.
The biggest wave is coming closer and closer, and you can see it getting closer and closer. She's going towards it, and you already know that there's not there's not going to be enough time.
Like the tension is just like so tight here. Then she gets stuck; she can't get up, and then Tars turns into an asterisk and fucking rolls to rescue her, and like he just like he's
so cool.
He's just a board. He's just a board, and then they're like, Tars, go get her, and he's like, just fucking turns into a fucking asterisk and just rolls.
It is one of the coolest things.
Because you're like, oh, I didn't know Tars could do that.
Well, no,
because why would you? He's a board. He's a flat board.
I mean, but it would make sense for like scientific little robots to be kind of.
And then he like picks her up with these cool appendages, and then like does this cool gallop back to the.
It's so cool, but this is, I didn't talk about this is one of the most frustrating parts for me.
Okay.
Because there's no reason for Wes Bentley's character, spoiler alert, to die here.
Yeah, he's standing right by the door.
He's standing right by the door. He could have been back. He could have gotten that ship. At a certain point, your fight or flight's kicking in.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I need to live too. He should.
I was actually talking to a buddy about this movie like yesterday because I was watching it.
Oh,
he had the exact same complaint.
It was so rough because, and you see Tars cook right by Wes Bentley.
God, it's so cool. Tars moves and it's awesome.
So quick because humans are moving so slow through this water, and you see this robot just up to 40 instantly.
It's so good.
Like it's awesome.
It's so
and you see Tars go right by Wes Bentley's character, and there's no excuse for him not to survive this scene. Well, it was really frustrating.
I didn't miss him throughout the rest of the movie. So, like, whatever. I don't know.
So the giant wave hits. Brand survives. Doyle, or Boyle's character, dies.
Yep.
And in this kind of
The
crash,
engines get flooded.
Engines get flooded. It's going to be, I think the TARDIS says 45 minutes to an hour.
And then McConaughey says, "How long is this going to last us? Or what's this going to cost us?" And Brand says, like, decades. And you're like, oh my god. Like, the stress that they're just, like, sitting there. Because they can't leave. Because the engine's flooded. Another wave's coming. What the fuck's going to happen? Like, are they just going to be fucked? And then I also love the other scary... Time is so scary in this movie. Where they're like, they land. The Miller, who is the other scientist, her ship is destroyed. And Brand is like, she probably just died minutes ago here. Because of the way that time is just...
That is pretty wild.
Like, her ship probably just got destroyed.
And that's actually a great bit of acting by Hathaway right there, because when she realizes that it might have been minutes, she kind of, like, tears up, because they were close. Because Brand knew all the other doctors that went out into space.
Man.
All the scientists.
Anyway, so
I'm
that's...
assuming they're all doctors, because they're all
This
featured.
scene happens 1/3 into the movie. It's not even the halfway point. It's just like... It's like an hour and a half into the movie.
It's wild.
And he's just like... Nolan just whips his dick out and is like, look at the greatest thing that I've ever made. I think this might be my favorite thing he's ever shot, the wave scene.
I have, just from the moment this Miller's Planet is just the whole thing. I mean, it's just something you could never have seen before. It's just one thing after another. Nolan is taking you and showing you things you never possibly have seen in movies.
Absolutely. Yeah. So there's this movie from the 80s called The Last Wave. It's an Australian movie. It's really good. It's like kind of like a legal thriller that's also got like sort of like a supernatural thriller element to it. And it's very slow paced. It's got this weird malaise to it. It's kind of dreamy. And the movie ends with this massive wave coming to like engulf all of the city. But because it's the 80s and it's a kind of a lower budget movie, it's all done through like implication. Like you don't actually see a huge fucking wave come, but like you see the character looking at the wave. You see like this close up shot of this water like just fucking rushing, and like you kind of get like, fuck, that's a big wave. It's just crazy that in this movie, Nolan's like, I can do it. I can make the biggest wave you've ever seen.
Sure, give me a budget that big.
You couldn't do that. You're not Nolan. You don't have. I don't know what it is about him. He just knows how to make shit look great.
Well, you've never seen my work, so
that's true. I haven't seen your visual effects work before.
I'm throwing that out there. So
yeah, well, for our Patreon subscribers, Brent will make a really big wave.
Yeah, just give me budget.
No, we do not have a Patreon. So, oh god, I don't even want to talk about the movie anymore because that scene's so good.
Well,
so they come back. They come back to the Endurance, and David Gyasi is standing there.
You get a badass close escape scene from the planet or from that planet because
they're out.
The engines happen to be just as the next giant wave is coming to smoke them.
Yeah, he gets right out of there.
Yeah, I'm gonna smoke the engines, or I'm gonna fire them up. Fire them up.
They come back, and Gyasi is standing there, just a shell of a man.
And older, he's got gray.
23 years have passed.
This is the scene that...
The scene is so crazy, because in real time, you're essentially spending... This whole scene with the waves is basically in real time. They land, they're there for 45 minutes? I mean, they kind of flash forward with the engines have to flood.
Yeah, they skipped forward a little bit.
Yeah, but like... They're there for, 45 minutes? They're probably there for a little over an hour.
Yeah, I'd probably say about an hour and 15, something.
Just a little over an hour. They come back, 23 years have gone by. Fucked. You're fucking donezo. Yeah, like, 23 years?
And Rami, or...
Romilly.
Romilly? Oh, he looks shaken.
He looks like a fucking husk. And he's like, I didn't think you were coming back. She's like, why didn't you sleep? You know, because
why didn't you sleep? And he's like, I slept a little bit. I had stints here and there, but...
23 years. He stayed behind to study Gargantua to get data to send it back to her.
23 years is a long time to be by yourself.
Oh my god.
With nothing.
Poor Romilly.
I
feel bad for Romilly. I love Romilly.
I'm surprised this character even made it. I'm surprised they didn't come back to like a little like.
Well, we're going to talk about in a minute what happens when you don't make it when we go to Man's Planet.
Well,
so
after the whole no. So the first thing. They get back, they talk to him, whatever. She asks him. Cooper does a beeline right for his video messages.
And yeah, this is like the money shot in the trailer. This is like
it. This is
the GIF that everyone shares.
Yeah.
Is McConaughey sitting there doing the best work of his career.
Oh my god.
Because he's getting all these messages from...
He said play from the beginning.
Yeah, messages span 23 years. Play from the beginning. And yeah, he watches literally his kids grow up. Well, he watches one of his kids grow up.
You find the whole, basically Casey Affleck's whole arc.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He meets a girl. They have a kid.
Kid dies.
Kid dies.
They have another kid.
Another kid.
They bury the kid out back.
Next to Grandpa.
No, Grandpa's not dead. Oh yeah, Grandpa's dead. Yeah. Oh my God, McConaughey has like these long, uninterrupted shots of him just watching a screen, crying. It's so overwhelming because he starts smiling when he sees his son, and then like as the messages go on, he's just like, I've missed all of this. Like you can see him just losing it.
Well, I mean, it starts with the first death. I know. John Lithgow's character.
Oh God,
Grandpa's gone.
The way that the movie is shot too, like, I don't know, you could have the scene and it just be like, oh yeah, time's passed, all these people have died, but like, you just fully feel the weight of the loss of time. Like, it's devastating.
Well, because, and it's because it's set up with Romley.
The gray in his beard.
You won't get that sense if it's not, and he looks rough. He looks rough.
Yeah.
And I'm still dealing with him and like what he went through.
Right. Then you drop this bombshell,
and then it's like, oh wait, no, I have to focus on Cooper's family.
You never see Murphy. She doesn't make any messages till finally the last one.
Back when they still were communicating, she never
sent any messages.
Any messages.
And now she's Jessica Chastain.
She was mad because she felt her dad abandoned her.
Right. But now she's Jessica Chastain, so that's cool. Good for her.
The last message after he thinks it's all done is and Casey Affleck says, I have to let you go. Yeah, his wife is like, no, like,
you gotta stop. Which also shitty move on the wife's part. Like, if that's his way of coping with his father like leaving and like never coming back, let him fucking send messages to his dad. Like, absolutely. Unless he's developed some sort of toxic behavior we don't know about. But well, yeah. Did he By the way, I do want to mention Casey Affleck is scary. Well, what, in the movie? Just in this movie, and just whenever he has a beard and he's dirty, I just think he's got that he's very, I think he's a very intense guy. He's missing out on a villainous chunk of his career. I don't think he has any interest in that. Yeah, he doesn't, but he should. Be great. Well, he's a great actor. I love him very much. Yes. The last message popped up. It's Jessica Chastain. Yes, and she's like pissed at him because she leaves the message that it's the day of her birthday that he said he would be back.
Hey, Dad. You son of a bitch. I never made one of these when you were still responding because I was so mad at you for leaving. And then when you went quiet, it seemed like I should live with that decision, and I have. But today's my birthday. And it's a special one because you told me you once told me that when you came back we might be the same age. And today I'm the age you were when you left. So it might be a real good time for you to come back.
And this is when you cut to me in theater,
sobbing,
bawling my eyes out.
Me on my couch and last night.
I look around and I'm looking at Matthew McConaughey making grown men cry.
Oh yeah.
All around me.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's just bawling their eyes out because they feel for Cooper, who's this great guy, but he's trying to save the world. Like,
so good. So there's I don't want to like
family just.
I don't want to glaze over too much, but like we don't really need to talk too much about the Chastain part of the movie because it's just her.
I do want to talk about that part though because I think Nolan does this really cool transition.
It's a really good scene switch, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing because he's watching the video of her video message, and Nolan does this thing where it kind of like goes through the TV and it comes out her side. And
well, she reaches up to turn it off, and then the scene immediately jump cuts to behind her of her actually turning it off.
Right there, yeah.
And then you get to spend some time with her on Earth, and like things have just gotten worse. Like Casey Affleck's kids like can't breathe. She's dating Topher Grace. I don't think they're dating. Well, they kiss.
I think he wants to. I don't think she's in it because at the end,
I just say Topher Grace punching a little bit above his weight class, trying to date fucking Jessica.
Well, the Earth is, it's
that's true. Not a lot of people.
Not a lot of pickings. But I think when spoiler alert, when she gives him a kiss later on, he's really hype on Cloud 9. That kind of shows you he's always wanted it.
Yeah.
Never really gotten a chance.
I think Topher Grace is really good in this movie. I know that he doesn't have a lot to do, but he has one scene that he sells very well, which is him inspecting the kid.
I like Topher Grace.
You want to have a little Topher Grace talk?
I just think he's...
You want to talk to him?
I just don't think he's gotten... I think he's kind of gotten a bad rap.
Well,
I think that's partially also because he has brought that on himself. Like, I always got the vibe that he thinks he's better than he is.
He's got a real scumbag vibe.
Right. But I think he's good.
All right. Well, I don't have any...
That's end of that.
I don't have any opinions on Topher Grace. But he does have a really good scene in this movie where he's, like, listening to Casey Affleck's son breathing, and Chastain comes downstairs, and he makes eye contact with her, and he's like, they cannot stay here, it's bad. And then he keeps going on with the inspection. Like, he, like, really quickly conveys to her, like, this is really bad. And then he kind of tries to... He's like, okay, let's check you next. You know, he goes into like doctor mode.
Is it weird that I thought... I wanted to... What do you think that sounded like? You know, you got the...
Oh, if you got, like, the stethoscope and you're, like... It's probably really gurgled.
Because I thought, it's got to be really heavy. It's just like...
Like, a lot of grinding.
Yes.
Oh, it, like, sounds like two stones.
Because that's because of his face conveyed...
He's really
that
good.
really...
He's really good in that scene. And then he doesn't have it.
That's kind of weird you mentioned that, because I thought about that earlier today. I was like, I want to... When you got an infection, you hear that kind of gurgling.
The raspy.
I'm imagining, like, something worse and rougher than that.
Absolutely.
Like,
it's gotta be.
Yeah.
Okay, so he gets the messages. All three of them decide, like, what's our next move? Do we go to Wolfgang's, right? Is that his name? Wolf? Or no, Wolf. Wolfgang? I don't know. The other guy. Anne Hathaway's boyfriend. Do we go to his planet or do we go to Man's planet?
Oh, Dr. Edmonds.
Dr. Wolfgang Edmonds, right? Is it Wolfgang?
I'm just going with Edmonds.
I think it's Wolfgang Edmonds. I don't know. I could be wrong. Anyways, so they decide to go to Man's planet because Man's planet is still communicating, is still sending out messages. The first guy, Edmonds' planet, was sending out really positive stuff, but then it stopped. So they're like, well, he's probably dead. We don't know what's going on there. But Man's planet is still broadcasting, so let's go.
They got to make the choice.
We've got enough fuel to get to one of them, so let's go to this one.
Before they decide, McConaughey said, he's like, you gotta tell Dr. Romley the truth, Dr. Brand.
Right.
And she's like, here you go. I know where you're at.
It's the worst part of the movie. It's the only part of this movie that's bad.
I knew you were going to say it.
Do you like this? Where she's like, the only thing that's stronger than gravity is love. Like, that's not what this movie is.
King Science Nolan all of a sudden goes fantasy and throws in this love aspect. He goes
like full schmaltz for one scene, and it's like, this is...
I'm down.
You love it.
I'm down.
I think it's the only part of the movie that sucks.
Oh.
Is her trying. It just doesn't work. It feels like it's just a thud.
I actually didn't like, because right after that, there was no vote. They decided to vote, and then once he called her out,
very shitty.
There was no vote. He's like,
shitty.
Tars, chart a course for where I want to go.
That was really good. Yeah, Tars is like, got it, my man.
I want to talk about this real quick earlier, because we always talk about Nolan and sound.
Okay.
When these ships were connecting earlier, there's a really cool part
docking sequence
where there's these little clamps that almost like lock on.
Yeah.
What I loved about that the most was Nolan's lack of sound.
No sound.
Because space, you don't hear it.
Well, let's talk about Man's planet.
Brilliant.
Okay.
I just love that little part that sets it up for later on.
Exactly. So they go down to Man's planet. It's cool. There's frozen clouds that they crash into.
As soon as they enter atmosphere,
come on.
this coolest thing
cool. I know.
They hit their ship grazes a frozen cloud.
The McConaughey's like, oh, frozen clouds. like I expected that.
I'm just normal space cowboy seeing normal space cowboy things.
Yeah. So they go down there. Man is in hypersleep. Who is it?
Dun, 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 dun.
It's Matt Damon, baby.
Yeah. Surprise.
I think the first scene where he comes out of hypersleep and immediately starts sobbing because he hasn't seen people in so long. Pretty good stuff from one of our most reliable actors, Matt Damon. You gonna dunk on Matt Damon right now on my podcast in my house?
I'm on. I like Matt Damon. I just
you don't think he's good in this, huh?
I didn't. The crying.
Oh, I love the crying.
That's everything else after the crying.
Oh, I think that the villain monologue he has is pretty bad. Where he's...
Oh, right before?
Where he's talking to McConaughey while McConaughey's helmet is cracked.
Before we'll get to it.
Well, let's just get to it. We're here. We're on Man's Planet. Let's do it.
Well, because there's a combination kind of like both scenes with Jessica Chastain's character and McConaughey's character
having this conflict.
Yeah, and and you got the ticking again, and it's
so good.
and it's cutting back and forth between and it's just
quickly too.
Well, it's you can feel it feels like a climax at this moment.
About to happen,
like
right?
In this, you could make a case that this is the climax.
It is pretty much, yeah.
Because what happens on Chastain's end is she's trying to.
Well, Kane dies.
Yeah, Elder Brand.
Yeah, old Brand dies.
Yeah, old Elder Brand dies.
Papa Brand.
Yeah, good Papa Brand.
He dies and tells her like it was all a lie. There was no plan A. We were never going to get the people off Earth. We were just going to send this population bomb. That was it. And then Jessica Chastain like calls young Brand, baby Brand, and is like, "Sorry, your dad's dead. Also, you fucking bitch. You lied. You knew." And then Brand's like, "I didn't know." It's this whole dramatic thing, and you find out that Dr. Mann, Matt Damon, he knew, and he's like also lying about his own planet so that he could save his own ass.
Well, that's the big thing. Like, that's at the end of this buildup is the reveal that Dr. Mann was lying about his planet the whole time.
Yeah, he's a big bad villain.
There was nothing. It's really just an icy waste graveyard of a planet
with ammonia for air. Like,
yeah, not good. Which ammonia for air. I'm glad you mentioned that because right at the end of this climactic scene on both ends is one of the scariest things I can ever think about if I'm traveling in space. If my visor gets cracked and my oxygen is not as strong, like
a really good line from Matt Damon here when Matt Damon's headbutting him, and McConaughey says, "You got a 50-50 chance of killing yourself," and Matt Damon says, "Those are the best odds I've had in years."
Yeah,
good line.
Oh, and he just keeps going.
Yeah. McConaughey starts choking, and Matt Damon gives this really, really long, seemingly endless monologue about like, your kids are you're gonna see your kids when you die. Do you see them? I can't watch this, whatever. And then he walks away.
You're going full villain.
Goes full villain. He steals one of the two smaller ships to take up to the Endurance. And while all this is happening, Romilly is working on this other robot, and he's about to unlock something, and then you just really suddenly hear TARS in the background go, "Professor, no!" And then everything explodes, and Romilly's dead. It's a really good scene.
Yeah, I wasn't sure because something with the ammonia or something set off some sort of chemical reaction.
No. I think that Mann had rigged his robot to explode.
Oh.
Because he was going in there, like, he had to give, like, actual human authentication.
Oh, wow. So he was actually full-on murder.
Yeah.
He didn't even need to kill Romilly.
Right.
He could have just left.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then you hear TARS, like, yell, like, "No, Professor, get back," and then he dies.
Yikes. So I was just thinking it was some sort of chemical...
No, I think it was an actual, planned-out thing.
Not good.
No, bad stuff. So then Mann takes a ship, Anne Hathaway saves McConaughey, they both take the other ship to go up. This whole scene also fucking rules. Mann tries docking, but TARS has disabled the autopilot on Mann's, like, the auto-docking thing. Yeah. So Mann has to, like, manually dock, he can't get it right, and he, like, fucks it up, and the entire fucking ship explodes, like, starts spiraling out.
One of the landing pods. The other one's good.
Yeah, right. But the fucking main ship itself just, like, took this huge blow, and it starts spinning fucking like crazy. And McConaughey, without missing a beat, it's not like he's like, "Oh no, what do we do?" He practically, you see him like shift into drive, like you see him like reach over, he's like,
go for it,
and he just goes straight for it. And Anne Hathaway's like, "What the fuck?" And
he's full cowboy here.
You're right.
There's no
this
caution.
Is a really good read.
This is full cowboy.
He's like full,
because if he wastes any time, the ship not only is falling towards the planet itself, so he has no time to waste.
This is the other incredible scene of the movie, is him
this
approaching.
Might be the scene of the
I think the wave scene and this scene are like equally fucking incredible. They're both unbelievable. So he has another great line here where TARS says, "It's impossible," and he says, "No, it's necessary."
Cooper, what are you doing?
Docking.
Endurance rotation is 67, 68 RPM.
Okay, get ready to match our spin with the retro thrusters.
It's not possible.
No, it's necessary.
Great.
TARS, if I black out, you take the wheel. So you already know he's going to do something crazy.
So
the ship is spinning.
The ship's spinning. So I don't even know how to explain this. He like programs his own ship to spin at the same rate as the main spaceship, so that they're like dancing. Like the scene looks like a ballet.
He just hits it. He hits the gas to go sideways. They start
like
spinning
crazy.
to coordinate
and
it.
then it looks like
Tars is on. Tars is also helping, trying to guide this thing.
This movie's the
It
best.
is the most tense. Anne Hathaway's character, her arms go up because she just passes out. McConaughey's on the cusp. He's like, you're just like...
Zimmer's just fucking shredding in the background. Just amazing stuff. And then he docks it. He gets it in there. And he saves the fucking day.
And he says, and for my next trick.
Yes. Yeah.
It's so good. And
you don't
just in the audience around me, like there's like an audible just sigh of relief,
but the best, you know what's great? He says, and for our next trick, you don't get a break, because what's the next thing Tar says? It'll have to be a good one, because we're getting pulled in by Gargantuan's orbit or whatever. So he's like, well, fuck, now I gotta escape a black hole. He doesn't get a break.
Yeah.
And also, he doesn't panic at all. The man blows up the ship, he fucking gets it done. Tars tells him they're getting sucked into a black hole. Well, time to figure it out.
I mean, he's such a freaking cowboy.
So good.
He's a hero. Like,
I love this movie. So
they come up with the next plan.
The next plan, which is, I mean, we can't really talk about. I don't really understand. They use
he basically McConaughey. He realizes he does like some quick hero math. And he's like,
hero math. Yeah.
I'm able to I can get you to Dr. Edmund's planet. And she's like, let's go.
He says, I can get us. He lies to her. 90% honesty.
90%.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
What a perfect movie. Everything about it. Except for that one scene with Anne Hathaway, which a love transcends boundary or whatever.
Oh, that was great.
Anyway, so yeah, he basically like rigs this whole ship to get as close to the black hole as possible, and then at the last second burn off all of his thrusters, and then also detach himself and Tars into the black hole so that she can escape and get to Edmund's planet.
Well, they know the plan is for Tars, and Tars is like, I don't have a choice. I got to do what you humans say. It's great little thing.
Yep.
I just like that.
Yep.
And it's just you kind of like are like you think the way it's set up is you're ready to have this emotional good, like I was a little bit with Tars.
You're ready to have Tars go away,
like,
and then
he's like, and then you see his ship detach and start heading towards this black hole.
I also really like.
I got goosebumps.
I really like right here, right before like everything kind of they go into the black hole. I don't remember which one of them says it, but one of them says something like, this whole maneuver is going to cost us 51 years. They do this so quickly, but they know, like, this is going to cost us like half of a fucking century.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why, like, when...
Oh, because he does this another, like, crazy maneuver where he's, like, riding, like, the black hole.
Yeah,
like,
he's doing a fucking board slide on the black hole.
He's coasting on it. Like,
so
how do you ride a black hole?
Okay. Now, I'm in the theater for the first time. Never seen this movie. It's an IMAX.
Yeah.
Matthew McConaughey has now fallen into a black hole. I feel like the seat
is
beneath
he
has...
Yet?
I was just like, wait, the movie's going into a black hole? What? What do you mean? We're going into a black hole? And then, like, Nolan does, like, some really cool imagery here where, like, it's, like, white dust and sand because, like, you don't know, and then, like, sparks start happening. It's really crazy. It takes a long time.
Yeah,
what do you think about this? Like,
you get a lot of, in the cockpit, shots of McConaughey looking through his visor, and he's just doing this pilot thing where no one's even around him, and he's still just breaking it down like, all right, we got our lights are going.
I like that,
and he's
scene.
Kind of like he's still being this badass pilot.
He's trying to still broadcast because like any data they can get, so he's sort of like narrating his experience for posterity's sake.
Right.
It's really cool. I think it's really good.
I know. I get that. But it's just I love that he's still like, any other space scene where a pilot is just like drifting off, you kind of like lose it with them. They kind of shut up and just like, I don't know, he's actually still riding his ship as in you don't know what's going to happen. He doesn't know what's going to happen. And you get that from him. You get that completely, that he's breaking it down and analyzing as he's going through this black hole, as his lights are starting to go off, as his electricity's starting to fade, and you can tell his ship isn't powered anymore, and it's kind of just like falling through this void. And then you get this really cool imagery of these little tiny sparks starting to come
like
up,
sand,
almost like popping in a little bit. And then that's when you see the kind of the mirror image with the Anne Hathaway handshake through the wormhole.
No. That's after. That's after all this.
Oh, that's after?
That's between him leaving the weird book dimension and then to him getting rescued.
You call it the book dimension. That's funny.
What do you call it?
I know.
So yeah, he fucking has to eject out of his seat in a black hole. The scariest thing in the world, right? Like, he's in a fucking ship and then he has to just eject.
Did he eject?
Yes, yeah. Because I always forget that he has to, because the ship is literally exploding around him. So he pulls the fucking eject button. He just shoots out into a black hole. And then he fucking lands inside of the book world. I don't know, like, what do you call it?
So this is when it's like,
I don't know how to feel about this scene. When I watch it, I really like it.
I think it's exactly what it should be because no one will. It's all speculation, It's the fifth dimensional.
But I think at the same time, Nolan is also trying to like describe what it is. Sort of.
Supposedly, the fifth dimensional beings created this
world.
But
the fifth dimensional beings are humans.
Cooper's. Well, we don't know. I feel like they say that it's us, but they also allude that there's something else.
I feel like they just pretty plainly say that it's humans, which makes it
and
really confusing.
And he says, like, yeah, it's supposed to be. Don't you see it was us? But I still think that's...
The scene itself, I think, is awesome. With him, like, floating around, literally diving through his daughter's childhood that he missed out on, and, like, navigating her, like, life to try and figure out what is the best way for him to communicate with her. It's really pretty and, like, really good looking and exciting. I just think, like, when you think about it, the rationale of it, I'm like, how did the first scene of the movie happen if this hasn't happened yet? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's a bad...
Well, no, it's not... It's because you can't... All of it is... You can't say this is bad without saying this is...
But that's the thing, is, like, I have questions, and I don't understand it, I think it doesn't make sense. But at the end of the day, I love it. You know what I mean? Like...
He showed me something I never saw. He took me to places I've never been or could imagine.
Yeah.
He put his own twist on it. Loved it. Visually freaking stunning.
Unbelievable.
It looks like McConaughey, as soon as he ejects, he's like kind of falling and falling and falling. It looks like he's going to
It's like a dream.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to
hit something. You ever have one of those dreams where you're falling?
But it keeps going.
And like
through,
the ground is coming up. Like, that's like what that feels like.
I've had the one where I'm like kind of running and then I come to like almost like a flat and I jump. And then I see that it keeps going, and I'm like, uh-oh, and I'm not, and I'm like this far off, and I'm gaining speed, and then I hit, and it's not good.
Not good.
It break.
But yeah,
usually I wake up right then.
So he falls into the book dimension, and Tars is also there.
Well, yeah, you start, all of a sudden you get on the intercom.
Tars.
Yeah.
So he feeds him the data of the black hole. He sends it back in time to his daughter through a watch in Morse code. She figures it out. And then he says,
did Tars eject? Gotta wonder how Tars got out of the ship.
Oh, he's a cool robot. I think that's how. So,
I don't think he ejected.
Tars could do, like, cool little fucking finger things. Like, he could totally pull
If you want to make a case that he's durable enough to survive the explosion, sure. I'll go that route. That's the only way.
Okay, fine. I'll go that route with you, too, because Tars is my favorite, and I don't care what you say. So, Tars feeds him the data. He sends the data. She essentially saves humanity with all of this data and makes a ship that defies logic. It's like a tube that people can live all of on the inside of, and the gravity's all cool and stuff.
So while
this ship's nuts.
While him and Tars, or Tars and him, are in this weird dimension, he's able to transmit through binary or Morse code.
It's Morse, yeah.
All this information to her, and it's this anti-gravity equation.
Fucking rules.
The craziest equation ever that's supposed to transport this massive ship off the Earth.
Yeah.
And he does it all through or Morse code.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just...
And then, like, the Tesseract starts to collapse in on him, and he, like, whites out, and then you have that scene of him reaching through the wormhole to shake Anne Hathaway's hand. So you're kind of being told he's going back in time, or something. Back, at least, close to, I don't know. No, I guess not, because he sees Ellen Burstyn. So anyways... He's floating around in space, and
we know that time can stretch and it can bend, but it can't go backwards.
And yeah, he's floating around in space, and the fucking space station is like right there and saves him.
Well, you get a call back. One of the first things you get is you hear the crack of a baseball bat.
Yeah, yeah,
and it's like, oh, that's good. I love hearing that.
So glad baseball made it. So yeah, you find out that Murphy is coming to visit this station because she found out her dad is there.
They found him floating with barely any oxygen and life support in the system, and they found him floating, got him back, and his daughter.
I fucked you up, didn't I?
His daughter's coming to visit. Yeah, it's great. You get a great scene when you finally do. He looks out the window, and you see that the whole ship.
It's like a tube.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's really great scene. I love seeing that.
Well, let's talk about the scene with him and Murphy, which is the, I don't know, third time that I break down crying in this movie. He goes to visit Murphy. She's old as shit. She's played by Ellen Burstyn. What a fucking legend. Like, that's crazy that he was just like, I'll just pull Ellen Burstyn in for this scene. No problem. And they have this really intense scene where, I don't know, she's old. She's about to die. She's so fucking old. And he's the same age as he was when he left.
Pretty
and,
wild.
Like, could you just imagine that? I don't even understand, like, what kind of emotions you would have to process. And he's like, leaning on her. He's, like, holding her hand and, like, leaning on it while they're talking. I don't know. It's so touching the way that they're just, like, communicating with each other.
It's pretty wild.
Nobody believed me. But I knew you'd come back.
How?
Because my dad promised me.
I'm here now, Murph. I'm here.
I fucking love it. Like, what? Like, no other Nolan movie has this kind of shit in it.
No, and there's, I mean, like I said, you get a lot of feel-good moments more than any other Nolan movie.
Oh, yeah.
Feel-good moments. These moments that make you smile, that make you warm in your chest. Mm-hmm. You know, put some...
And wet in your eyes.
Sure, yeah.
Yep, got wet eyeballs when I watch this movie.
This is kind of where my problem is.
What?
Yeah.
What?
You get this overwhelming sense from here on out. First off, you spend the whole movie of him basically trying to, well, this good bulk of it, of him trying to get back to her. The reunion is very brief, and I get that she gives the line like, oh, I want to be, or let me be with my kids, or something with the kids.
No. She says no father should have to watch their child die. That's why she sends them away. So she's like, you shouldn't have to watch me die. Like, go, like, the end of the movie is her being like, you did it. I love you. I'm not mad at you. You shouldn't have to watch me die. Go do what you were born to do, which you weren't ever able to do in your life. Like, go. Like,
right.
I think it's really good.
With the end of her life, she doesn't have a lot of time. We can both agree. She was in cryo sleep for 2 years. She's probably just to have that reunion. Yeah. I don't know. I think he can. But he has a little bit of time.
But in the movie, they also set up like the whole Matt Damon scene where he's like, in the last moments of your life, you're going to want to see your kids again. And it's like a reversal of that. Like, you know she's about to die. He doesn't need to be there to see that. Like,
does he need to leave?
No, if you wanted to make this a 3.5-hour movie, I guess we could have some more family drama at the end. But
no,
it's perfect. I love their
because
goodbye.
Not
so
only
good.
Because I just feel like that could have been longer. Not only that, there didn't need to be like this almost pump fake for a sequel, like of him going out.
Oh, I don't think that was no. That's not what that is.
There's so many people when I was leaving the theater were just like, what were they setting up for? Like,
no, okay. Well,
and then there was articles posted for like months after that, like them talking about Nolan was being interviewed. Like, would you do a number 2 with McConaughey? They were asking him if he'd come back because you get the feeling.
No, that's not what that is at all.
Yeah, it's like
you just
gotta go have another space adventure.
No, that's not what it is at all. He's not going to have a space adventure. He's going to go to the planet where Anne Hathaway is, so that they can so that they can fucking restart Earth. That's what the whole end of the movie is. She's already got
it set up. You
already
see the camp. I'm saying his job's done. He did.
He can work for NASA now. I don't know. Like, what do you mean?
There's this whole like him rushing off to the point where he had to steal a ship, and it's just like, give me a break.
You're being silly.
And have to steal a ship.
I mean, yeah, that one shot, because it's really, really pretty. The whole end, where like you're seeing him work on TARS. She's giving this beautiful monologue about how Brand is on this new planet under the light of our new sun, and then it just cuts to a really brief scene of some guy walking by being like, "Hey, who stole this ship?" It's like, you can cut that out, but no, I think the whole end of this is beautiful.
It felt
he gets to do what he's always wanted to do now. He gets to be a pilot.
He's just gonna go. He's just
so
gonna. So
what should he go back to being a farmer?
He can do it. I don't know. It's just
about how this is such a good feel-good movie. That's such a good feel-good ending.
Nah, it felt out of place.
Oh my god,
it felt out of place. It felt like, what are you doing?
Folks, sorry to say, but the podcast has come to an end.
It's just, she did her job. The colony's looking good.
Anyway,
he.
What do you want the end of this movie to be?
Just him holding her
That'd be good.
And panning out of the freaking hospital.
It'd be good, but I do like the...
And you know what? And show me her on the planet. Keep that.
I was about to say...
I like that.
Okay.
But zoom out. Show me spherical base.
So what you're saying is... So what you're saying is literally just cut the couple of scenes of McConaughey stealing a ship.
Because it goes through it even goes through the effort of showing him repair TARS and getting ready.
I like that he repairs
it's
TARS.
Just like, oh, like, I'm ready for the next journey, like the next adventure.
Let me... Like... If you cut out the couple scenes of him stealing the ship, and it's just him holding Ellen Burstyn's hand, and then it cuts to a scene of him, like, fixing TARS while Ellen Burstyn starts to like, narrate.
Keep the house as a museum. I like the house as a museum.
Yeah,
Keep
that's
that.
cool. And then you told him I like farming.
Love it.
That's great.
Amazing.
But yeah, so you're saying you like everything except for the implication that McConaughey is going to go be a pilot.
Like, go on his next adventure.
I don't think it's like a next adventure, though.
The music's crescendoing. Like,
it's the end of the movie.
It looks like Rob, like, I felt like Joseph Gordon-Levitt discovering the Batcave again. That's what it felt like.
Well, there wasn't another movie of that, was there?
Exactly.
Okay, well...
You had qualms with that whole thing?
No. I just had qualms with him being named Robin. Oh, fucking stupid idea that was. I don't care if he finds the Batcave. Oh. That's cool. Okay, so I think that pretty much brings us to a wrap on this movie, which fucking I just love so much. Do you have any other thoughts that we have to talk about? I mean, we talked about Zimmer. We talked about pretty much everyone in this movie, right?
Oh, I did want to mention there was a really cool bit when it's just I'm told so many things about McConaughey's character.
Yeah,
but
I love this guy.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah, he's good.
But when a really cool thing about is it Romley or is it Wes Bentley's character can't deal with
Romley.
Just the
that was the scariest scene for me when I first saw it. Is him saying like there's only a couple centimeters of aluminum separating us from the vacuum of space.
And then the cool as a cucumber McConaughey's like just
hey man, here's some cool nature sounds.
And it's just freaking nature. And it's McConaughey sitting out on his dock.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like you just hear it. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I like that.
Also, this was a few years before The Force Awakens.
1 year.
Oh, 1 year?
Just 1 year before.
Oh, okay. Well, everyone was going crazy. And, everyone loves BB-8 and this whole, like, bracing himself with the little cables.
Pretty cool.
Well, you get a little thing with TARS and his little, like, clamps, too.
Where he holds Brand down?
Well, no, in the ship, when the ship is starting to...
Well, yeah, because he clamps up like that, and then he clamps over Brand
to hold her
from going around.
Yeah, really cool.
Well, yeah, no, TARS is much cooler than BB-8, and I love BB-8.
Yeah, awesome. Really. Just I wanted to give TARS his due because
TARS
BB-8 got a lot of love for that little cute little bracing himself.
It's a Star Wars movie, yeah, because he's cute, exactly.
Well, and it was really cool at the time too. But
I love that, yeah.
But TARS is way more subtle, where it's just like his
little clamps,
go out. Cool. I love that. It was really cool.
I mean, we didn't talk about Case at all, but Case was just the other robot who was like less talkative than TARS, but he was cool.
He had the one-liner.
Yeah,
I think TARS talks enough for both of us.
Yep, great.
Like, I love it. It was great. Other than that, yeah, I think this I'd say this is easily Christopher Nolan's most emotional movie,
without a doubt.
Yeah, and I just everything. This is Nolan firing on all cylinders right here.
Mm-hmm. I feel like we've said that about the last 3 movies, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that.
It's because each time he gets a bigger budget. I know.
I know.
More talent. He gets more people.
The budget on this was much less than The Dark Knight Rises.
Probably, anything with Batman is going to be inflated.
Do you want to play the game then? We can play it for this one. It's not all Marvel movies.
Okay.
So the game is you pick. I'm going to give you a couple of genres that this is categorized under. You're going to pick a genre, and I'm going to have you guess the top 5 movies in that genre. Right. I'm only going to give you 2. There are 5, but the other 3 we've either done or are just shit that we've gone over before. So we're going to do exploration. Ooh, this is an exploration movie.
Exploration movie.
Or near future. Which one you want? Which one do you want to guess? Exploration or near future?
Let's go near future.
Ooh, near future. So I'm going to have Brent guess the top 5 domestic grossing films in near future.
Near future.
Yeah. I'm actually going to make you guess. Interstellar is number 5.
Is it?
Yes, Interstellar is number 5.
Interesting.
And this is just domestic. This isn't going off worldwide, so it would be much different if it were worldwide. But domestic, Interstellar, number 5, near future movie. I'm going to make you guess 1 through 4 and number 6.
This is, these always seem pretty tough.
I know, but you always knock them out. So let's see.
I don't know.
So, number 1.
Is any of you got to think one of them's got to be a Terminator in there?
No Terminators.
There's no Terminators. in there.
These are mostly pretty recent.
Okay, a Blade Runner's in there?
Nope.
There's no Blade Runners, no Terminators. Okay.
So I will give you a hint for number 1.
Not good.
I'll give you a hint for number 1.
Wait, is there any Planet of the Apes?
Dawn of the Planet of the Apes
Okay.
is number 4.
Okay.
Like, I haven't given you a hint yet. You're always so good at, like... Okay.
Well, Mad Max?
No. Okay.
There's no Mad Max.
No Mad Max. Yeah.
I want to throw the laptop.
That is sort of like a near future movie. That's probably a post-apocalypse. It would be that. Okay.
That's far future.
Sure. Number 1 is a... Man, this was a big deal when it came out. Stars like one of the biggest movie stars, like, of our lifetime. And he's basically the only person in the movie.
See, I don't know. Anything. Near future. Any of the Matrixes in there?
Nope.
No Matrixes.
Only one of these movies that remain are a franchise movie. The rest of them are all, like, just one-offs.
Interesting.
Yep. Just all single entries. The first one is pretty... I mean, who are, like, the biggest movie stars you could think of?
Leo, Phoenix, Bale.
No, movie stars. I'm talking, like, big charisma.
Oh, okay. I Am Legend?
I Am Legend.
Oh,
that's number 1.
Number 1.
That movie was a huge deal.
Wow.
I love that movie. All right, number 2.
Okay.
Number 2.
They consider that near future?
Yeah, I guess so.
Sure.
All right, number 2. Very similar to the movie that we've covered today.
Okay. So it's not it's not like an Ad Astra. It's not.
Yeah, it's pretty similar. Pretty similar to that.
Okay.
Came out a year after Interstellar and stars somebody from Interstellar.
The Martian.
The Martian.
Yeah.
Number 2. I didn't know that movie was that big of a hit. Okay, number 3 is the only other franchise movie on here. I've not seen this movie. It is okay. All right, I'll see if I can. It is the 3rd entry of a spin-off trilogy of a different franchise.
Oh, great! Near future.
I feel like you probably love this movie.
I probably do. Yeah. You know, it sounds like something I'd like.
Out of all these movies, this is the most recent from the last couple of years.
There's not any of the Prometheus, Alien.
Nope.
No.
Nope. The star of this movie, who was in all of the other movies from this franchise, was one of the leads in one of the movies we've covered this season.
Oh my goodness. That's all that's going to do is just make me go through each movie and just... Oh, boy.
Man, I don't know. I feel like I've gotten some good hints there.
Near future.
Don't focus on that so much.
Well, it's tough.
Focus more on my hints.
Your best hint was telling me to think of the big action stars.
Okay, well, this guy's not necessarily.
Inception?
No.
I mean, that's kind of near future.
No, it's more recent than that.
More recent than Inception?
Yeah, but remember what I told you. This movie is the 3rd entry in a spin-off trilogy of a different franchise. So you've got this franchise over here, right?
Sure.
And then this character was like, I'm going to have my own trilogy off to the side over here.
Yeah, that's absurd.
It's very absurd when I say it like that, but it's also not absurd when you think about it.
I need a better hint.
It's a superhero franchise.
Oh, kind of like a Blade type?
Nope. The bigger one. Like this franchise has probably like 10 entries in it, including this trilogy. There's like 3 separate trilogies in this franchise that started in like 2000.
Spider-Man?
Nope. What's the other one that started right around then?
Is it one of the Days of Future Past?
No, it's a spin-off trilogy.
X-Men or Wolverine, X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Keep going, not that one.
That's the Wolverine.
That's the second one.
Logan. There you go.
Yeah, you don't think about that. That's a trilogy. That's a spin-off of a different franchise.
I just consider Hugh Jackman has. Yeah, I guess because there are 3 Wolverine movies.
Yeah, it's weird.
Just because he's in all the other ones.
I know, it's weird. All right.
I guess that is near future.
So 4 is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. 5 is Interstellar. I want to make you guess number 6 just because, like, fuck this movie for existing. It is a big, dumb disaster epic.
2012.
Yes, exactly. Remember 2012? Remember when 2012 came out in 2009?
I could have got that one right.
Oh, God, what a piece of shit. All right.
Well, I'll give you a little... John.
Right.
So
you like to make me guess actors.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Right.
Just Since John Lithgow's in this, I'll just give you...
All right.
John Lithgow,
Uh-huh.
Sylvester Stallone.
Oh, what? I don't know. The Expendables 1? The Expendables 2? The Expendables 3?
Before that.
All right. I don't know much. Is he in a Rambo?
No.
Is he in a Rocky?
No.
Okay, so he's in a solo? He's in a solo Sylvester Stallone movie?
It's like his best. It's like one of his best.
Judging by what metric?
Like classic, like 90s goodness.
Oh my god. Would I know what this movie is?
I think.
You know I don't watch it. Is it a Predator? Is he in a Predator?
No.
I don't know.
That's Arnie's franchise.
I thought Stallone was in one of those dumb sci-fi movies. No.
Yeah, closest was Demolition Man. I almost said Demolition Man for Near Future.
John Lithgow was in a movie with Sylvester Stallone in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big, like, dumb action movie?
Yeah.
Oh my god. I don't know. He
plays the villain, and he plays an amazing freaking villain.
John Lithgow plays the villain?
Yeah.
Oh my god. I wish I knew any, Sly Stallone movies. I don't know any. You're going to have to give me the name of this one. I just don't know it.
Cliffhanger.
Yeah, no, I don't know if that doesn't exist. I've never heard of that.
It is 90s goodness. Check it out.
God, would I like it?
Do you like 90s action movies?
Not Sylvester Stallone ones particularly.
What?
No. Come on, you know this about me.
No,
you know that I just recently watched Terminator. Like,
I know you take Arnie, you take Jean-Claude, you take Stallone, you put them all in a blender, and you just have a great action 90s night. I'm telling you. Yeah. Just get ready to watch that body count go up.
Oh God!
But John Lithgow plays a great villain.
I love him very much.
I guess we should talk about any movies in the future that you have on the horizon that might excite you. By a director named Darren Lynn Bousman.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to cover him.
No?
No.
I don't know why I thought that was so funny.
There are a few... Well, I'm just going to jump right to it. Stars Chris Rock.
Okay.
The new Spiral.
Oh, Spiral from the Book of Saw.
I am down.
I thought Rock was directing that one.
Is he directing?
I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong.
He's starring, and there's one other. It's Chris Rock and one
Samuel
other.
Jackson.
Is it Samuel Jackson?
Spiral from the Book of Saw.
I'm so down. I'm so ready.
Can't wait to open the book.
This is the same director that did the Spa sequel, Spa 3 and 4.
You mean Saw? You just said Spa.
I said Spa.
Mixing Spiral and Spa.
There you go. No, he did Spa 2, 3. He did Spa 2, 3.
All right, he did Spa number 1.
Yeah.
No, he did Spa 2.
Okay, we're going to say Saw.
Have fun.
Okay. Saw 2, 3, and 4.
So this guy is a Spa veteran.
But another noteworthy movie that was pretty good was Repo, the Genetic Opera.
Oh, I know. Was it Jude Law?
No, that was
Repo Man. I don't know.
Yeah, that was Repo.
I heard the Genetic Opera was pretty good.
Yeah, that was the good one. They tried to do it with, I think it was Jude Law and Forrest Whitaker. They did like a Hollywood. They Hollywoodized it because it was done because this movie was done so well. They're like, oh, let's put some actors in it and let's do it. That one was okay, but
just okay.
Yeah, this one was the better one. So this is him coming back to the franchise. You know, everyone knows what the Spa franchise is.
The Spa franchise is long-running torture porn.
Porn.
And this is a reboot of Spa. Spiral from the Book of Spa.
I'm looking for this to go in a different direction. I'm looking for this to
go...
it will.
Because I think they're fully rebooting the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm looking for this. You're still going to get the classic gore, but you're going to get more of... First off, you're going to get better acting because it's already attached.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, I think they're actually going to make this like kind of a legit franchise. And this guy... Well, yeah, they're going to try. Then I'm down and I'm ready for it. I'm excited. I'm ready to get scared again. Please.
Can't wait to open the Book of Spa.
The Spa. Spawn.
Oh man, what am I even looking forward to? I don't even know. I feel like we're in like the dead period right now because like studios don't really know what to do with upcoming movies. You know what I mean? Like with COVID. Although I'm vaccinated now, so I can get back to the theaters. Pretty excited to get back to the theaters. I think I've already talked about all the movies that I'm excited to see though. We've already talked about Mortal Kombat and Nobody and Kong and Godzilla.
What about way down the line? You got anything way down the line?
I mean, it's just like all like kind of. You know what? Sure, I'll bring one up. very excited to see The French Dispatch, the new Wes Anderson movie,
Okay.
which was supposed to come out this year, and it's
COVID victim.
Yeah, one of the few COVID victims that got delayed that would have actually maybe made an impact in this year's Oscars. I don't think fucking Black Widow would have been up for too many Oscars, so that getting delayed didn't matter. But French Dispatch looks like another fun little Wes Anderson movie.
It's probably going to have a huge cast.
Oh, the cast is disgusting. It's everyone who's ever been in a Wes Anderson movie, plus, like, Elizabeth Moss and Timothy Chalamet.
Just the new hotness.
Literally, yes.
Because that's what he does.
He's like, I got my boys. I've got Bill. I've got Owen. I'm bringing them all in.
So basically,
Francis McDormand, I think, is in this movie. Like,
so everyone who
pretty excited.
He just keeps adding to his roster.
He does. Like,
so now Timothy Chalamet is going to be a mainstay. Like,
yeah, exactly. He's going to be in every Wes Anderson movie from now on.
Why does he? Like, Bill Murray was the first. You're my first draft pick.
Yeah, exactly. No, he's like acquired a pretty heavy bench.
Oh yeah.
You like his movies? If we did a whole season, of him,
I'd be down.
Okay, you wouldn't be miserable.
No.
Okay.
I think some movies I might be a little miserable, but
sure. I'm actually excited because this whole season is movies that we basically like a lot, and the next season is going to be movies that we like a lot, and
I'm ready to see some new stuff.
Well, I'm definitely ready to see some new stuff, but I'm saying, like, as far as seasons that we're going to cover, like directors that we're going to cover, I would be like excited to do a director that has like some bad movies because like we've mostly just talked about movies we like.
Well, it's Nolan. I mean,
the next one's going to be the same thing. It's like the next one is just like all of my favorite movies. Here we are. Like
the thing with Wes Anderson is he's for me at least trending up because I loved like as far as like all his movies were like okay. Fantastic Mr. Fox, I really enjoyed.
Masterpiece.
And then Grand Budapest, I was like, this is incredible.
Did you see Isle of Dogs?
I did watch that one.
You like that one?
It wasn't...
Not for you, huh?
Well, no, it was okay. But it wasn't no Grand Budapest. Like,
no, it's going to be tough for him to ever get close to Grand Budapest. Because he had Rafe. Because Rafe was just, like, killing that role.
I said Tier 2.
He's incredible.
Tier 2. Rafe finds Vigo.
Love Vigo.
Oldman Hopkins.
All right, well... I think that'll bring us to a close on our Interstellar episode.
Well,
do we have another thing?
My rating, I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5.
Fucking A+, baby.
4. Yeah, you're giving 5 out of 5.
5 stars, whatever. A+, stamp it. Passed the test. Yeah, great movie. There are things that like kind of bump for me a little bit, things that are a little bit rugged, but like the things that I don't like are so minuscule compared to all the things that I am just overwhelmed. Like, I literally go a week when I watch this movie because I'm just overwhelmed by A, the pure spectacle of it, and B, the emotional beats that are so good.
Yeah, it's really close. I think maybe at one point, if I didn't tighten up my rating system as hard as I did, I think maybe at one point I had it a perfect score. But I'm trying to give those to the cream of the cream. I want that to be an elusive
This is a creamy movie for me. This is the creamiest.
Well, you look over there pretty creamy over there. So.
All right, well, next week is Dunkirk.
Well,
not next week, because we're releasing these all at once. Next episode is Dunkirk.
So stay tuned.
Oh, my God.
Bring your heart monitor.
For real.
You think this one was pulse pounding?
Yeah.
God.
You will die watching Dunkirk.
Oh, I need to have some meds ready.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait. All right.
I'm already excited.
Well, I'm James.
I'm Brent.
Thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the other side
of the black hole.
Yeah, the black hole. Bye.
Bye.